Fans, it's great to have you back with us as we get ready for Giants baseball. We're joined by Grant Power, the president and CEO of Nations. Grant, a quick question for you. What do you like for breakfast when you go to Nations?
My choice, I go with the two-egger, and I either go super crispy bacon or I go wild salmon. I substitute that in. I love both of those meat choices. I'm pretty much 50-50 on both of those. And then I go over medium on my eggs, and I ask for chopped onions on top of those. And then again, at 50-50, I go either French toast substitute or I go hash browns and toast. And if I go hash browns and toast, I almost always pick English muffin as my bread. Definitely do coffee, definitely do orange juice, and I'm always filled up. I usually don't need anything until a late lunch, and there are lots of wonderful breakfasts, but that's my top choice.
Well, I love it. All right, Grant, you're making me hungry. Thanks for being on. We'll talk to you again.
Always a privilege. You take care, Marty.
That's Grant Power, President, CEO of Nations.
Seam heads. Our Giants game day coverage begins now.
It's the mosaic.
So before gloves start popping,
Diving, he makes the catch!
and bats start cracking,
It is gone!
we bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie
That's what we do. We talk ball.
on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, good morning and welcome to Talking Baseball on this Sunday morning. Boy, what a baseball season this has been. This is one that is going to go down right to the end, and every day we get another story. And it was nice hearing Grant Power, by the way, who's been with me for so many years with Nations and the wonderful Power family. They're going to open their first Nations at Fisherman's Wharf. Come on, in October 5th or so. So I'm glad to hear Grant on the show, and that's what's going on at Nations. Well, the Dodgers are in town, and that's all you've got to say. You get two games that are just totally different, but it's all Giants-Dodgers, and we get Game 3 today between the Giants and Dodgers, and Tyler Glasnow going today, the big right-hander, 6'8", 225 pounds, 32 years old, and he goes against Robbie Ray, 33 years old, 11-6 with a 332 earned run average. Robbie Ray's last 5 games, the Giants have won them all. How has Robbie Ray pitched? Not great, but the Giants got a lot of runs for him during this streak, and they've won all of his last 5 games. So that's the matchup for today. But it's Giants-Dodgers baseball on Friday night. And, I want to say about Patrick Bailey, who really struggled earlier in the season. He's got 4 home runs in September, and he had the home run off the bricks to beat the Phillies and the walk-off. Well, he walked off another one on Friday night in the 10th inning, a 4-1 grand slam, 5-1 for him, a grand slam to walk it off against the Dodgers in a very, very tight pitching duel with Verlander going there for the Giants in that one, and Yamamoto. And it leads me to Verlander again in the season he's having. And he has really, really been fantastic for the Giants in the last month or so. And if you had to win a game right now, you know something, you may take Verlander to do it. So he was locked up with Yamamoto 1-1, and then Bailey hit the grand slam, and the Giants walk it off. So you go into last night, and here's Kershaw, who's not the same pitcher, let's face it, that he was years ago, but he's always pitched well in this park against the Giants. I always say get him in long innings, 25-pitch innings. You could get to the guy. And the Giants did last night, and they got 4 runs in the first inning, and Ohtani had scored on a hit earlier in that inning, so it was 4-1. You felt pretty good. And then all of a sudden the roof fell in on Logan Webb, who after the game talked about his pitch selection. He didn't like it and this and that. And we'll talk about that today. He's a potential Cy Young Award winner for me. Not anymore, unfortunately, after his last couple. But for Logan Webb, pitch the game you want to pitch. I don't care what the analytics say. If the Dodgers hit you around a little bit the last time, and you're changing your repertoire to something else this time, and then you get whacked around again, do what you think is best. And that's what Logan Webb has got to do. He's got to pitch his game, and that's sinkers and sweepers and keep the ball down. And he starts going up in the strike zone, and he gets hit, and he got hit a lot and ended up giving up 6 runs to the Dodgers last night. And the Dodgers win the game 13-7. And it was a Saturday night, typical Giants-Dodgers. All you needed was the count, John Montefiusco in this one. And you had that feeling it was just a wild game, and it was last night. But with all that said, the Giants are still very, very much in the playoff race. They've got 13 more games to go. They've got 1 here today against the Dodgers. And then it's off to Arizona, where I'll see all 3 games down here. And then it's 4 in L.A., and then back home for what could be a 6-0 week with the St. Louis Cardinals coming in, and they've been knocked around a lot. Probably get Sonny Gray in that series. And then it ends up with just what the doctor ordered, and that's the Colorado Rockies. So a long way to go in this one to see what's going to happen in this wild card race. I'd say the division race probably is out of reach for the Giants, even though they've got 5 games left with the Dodgers. The Dodgers are still pretty much in control of that. Their magic number to win the West is 7 over San Diego, who's still only 2.5 back and 3 back in the loss column. So good baseball going on here. Good baseball. But the main thing is the Giants have come back. The Mets have lost 8 straight. Cincinnati is on a road trip here, and they're 2-3, and they've lost the last 2 to Sacramento, up to the A's up there. There's Nick Kurtz. What a hitter he is for the A's. Hit one .495 last night, apparently. So the Reds play the A's again today. And the Mets get Bruce Bochy and Texas. And if you watched any of that Met game yesterday or Friday night, it's Bruce Bochy at his finest, at his best, the way he handles that ball club and the bullpen. And he did it last night, yesterday afternoon against the Mets. He did it Friday night. And the Rangers have beaten the Mets twice. And the Mets now have lost 8 in a row, making all the little mistakes. Everything's going wrong for them. Whatever move Mendoza, the manager, makes, it always turns out wrong. So as play starts today with the Giants' loss, the Mets now are back 76-73. A half a game ahead of the Giants, 75-73. But don't forget the Mets have the tiebreaker. And the Reds are a game and a half back at 74-74. And the Giants and Reds, and Raph and I looked this up today in the tiebreaker there, Giants and Reds have split their season series 3-3. So then you go to the record intra-division. The Giants are 19-22 in the West. The Reds are 17-22 in the Central. So these next games against the West for the Giants are huge in case they end up in a tie with Cincinnati, and they're huge for Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got a schedule in the Central of St. Louis, the Cubs, Pittsburgh, and Milwaukee, and that's 12 games. So we'll see how that's going to turn out. So good baseball. I know it's a Sunday morning, but this is good baseball, and the Giants are right in the middle of it, and it's very, very, very exciting. All right, we've got a good show for you today. Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions, will be with us. We have our contest going today. Guess the score of the game, and you can win dinner for 2 at Original Joe's in San Francisco, Westlake or West Portal, or at Walnut Creek. And all you got to do is tweet it in on Twitter at Baseball Marty, the score of the game today. The other good news, speaking to Randy Field and Michael Pickman, who the producer, Michael, and the director of the movie, Baseball Mensch, the Marty Lurie story, it's really, really good. It's really good. And you can see the trailer at baseballmensch.com. Well, on August 25th, we had the premiere on Monday, and the Vogue Theater was sold out, and it really was a wonderful time, and Bob Costas is the narrator. And we've done a lot of nice things with the film. It's in a couple of film festivals already. Well, we're going to do another screening at the Vogue Theater, open to the public. I want everyone to come. Now, the theater only holds about 250 people, but it's going to be 2 weeks from now. It's Saturday, September 27th at 7 p.m. The Giants play that day against Colorado. Who knows? It may be a celebration that night for us. But it's September 27th, 7 p.m. at the Vogue Theater in San Francisco at Presidio and Sacramento Streets, and it'll be a nominal fee with the proceeds going to the Vogue Theater, $10 or $15. And we want to support the independent theater. So that's what's going on as well. So good things. It's baseball time. It's towards the end of the season. It's football time. And we've got a great game today, which we'll talk more about. But Giants are in this thing. They're in this thing. They got to play good defense. That outfield defense was kind of shaky last night. But they're hitting the ball, and we'll talk about Devers and Adames and Jung-Hoo Lee and everyone else. This season is really turned around. But you got to pitch. And today they need Robbie Ray to give them that good game against Glasnow. They've hit Glasnow a little bit in the past, but he's one tough cookie. And you want to get into that Dodger bullpen if you can. So we'll see what Mark Simon's got to say about the Mets. I'm looking forward to this right after these messages.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Hey fans, Gene Bagato checked in from Bodega Bay, and he told me that with the coming arrival of fall, they're expecting some of the best weather of the year up on the Sonoma coast. And what better way to enjoy such a fabulous climate than a trip to the Tides Wharf? At the restaurant, a varied menu awaits guests, offering such classics as New England clam chowder and house smoked salmon and fried calamari to fresh seafood salads. I love it. Pastas and grilled fish. If the beach is your destination, the fish market offers whatever food and beverages one needs for a picnic. While across the Great Hall, the gift shop has not only stylish beachwear, but the perfect souvenirs to take home. And if you're looking for an extended stay, just across Highway 1, the Inn at the Tides with its large, comfortable rooms and heated pool is waiting for you. Wow. So if you're looking for the perfect fall getaway not far from the Bay Area, look no further than the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. Everyone likes a party, but everyone loves a party at Original Joe's. With 3 private dining rooms, it's the perfect spot to hold your next big event. From christenings to corporate gatherings, we'll make your next party San Francisco special. Original Joe's, see you at the counter.
Mark Simon, the information wizard from Sports Info Solutions. Mark, I love you, man.
Oh, no! Boy, and the Mets are saying, oh, no. That was Seinfeld. As we get ready to talk to Mark Simon of Sports Info Solutions, Mark A. Simon says on Twitter. Mark, good morning. How are you?
Good. I have to start this off with a, apology of some sort to you. 2 weeks ago, you had me on this show after the Giants had lost to the Orioles 11-1. At that time, the Giants were 67-79. The Mets were 73-63. And you spent the entire conversation with me talking to me as if the Giants were in the race. And I hung up the phone after we were done, and I said, why in the world did he think that the Giants were in the race? And I guess you were right.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've been saying this for a couple of months. One, they've got players, and they did, and they were underperforming, but they had players. But the other thing is, the Mets, the Reds, whoever else was in this race, San Diego, nobody was putting anyone else away. And I remember being up in August when I came up and talked to Bob Melvin, and I said, you know what? And this was in August, the beginning of August. I said, you know, with all the losing that's going on, you're still right in the middle of this mishmash, I called it, of the last wild card spot. And I was right about it. And, he sort of agreed, and they just hung in there. And now it's coming down to the wire here. So let's talk about this a little bit, about the Mets. And they're back in front by a half a game, and they do have the tiebreaker. I always say, in baseball, sometimes when you get to the end of the season and you start losing, it's like being seasick. It's tough to get unseasick. And when you hit the wall in baseball, like the Mets kind of have with their team, it's hard to straighten it out because they've lost 8 in a row. So what do you have to say about it?
Well, all right. They have multiple issues that they need to get fixed. They need to fix the offense. They need to fix the pitching, and they need to fix the defense too, and that's everything. They look, you know what? It's funny. They've had 3 really bad losing streaks this year, and they've eventually come out of them. But when they're in these losing streaks, they look like they can't beat anybody, and that's where they are right now. They're striking out in droves. They're finding ways to lose. Like yesterday was the classic example of that. It was basically yesterday for the Mets was basically the opposite of Friday night for the Giants, where the Giants figured out a way, Mets figured out a way in reverse, and they seem to be going in reverse. And they have the players too. I think they have better players than the Giants do. But right now they look kind of lost out there.
Well, we'll see what happens. Just one footnote on yesterday. Tyler Rogers is the one bright spot in the bullpen, and they gave him his 8th inning, and a couple of bloops, and he was in trouble, and he did get 2 outs, and then they went to Diaz, who's wild and has no idea where the ball's going. And the next thing you knew, that 2-1 lead the Mets had turned into a 3-2 deficit. And I thought he overmanaged. They don't know Rogers. Let Rogers finish his 8th inning. He's good at it.
Yeah, that's funny because I thought that he mismanaged it in a different way. I thought that he should have started the inning with Diaz so that if Diaz was wild at the start of an inning, he could fix it. He didn't have the space to fix it once they brought him in relief of Rogers. Either way, it didn't work out. And Tyler Rogers so I will say, Tyler Rogers has looked good for the Mets in about 80% of the games that he's been in. But the other 20% of the games, the same thing happens. Like one weird thing, infield hit. Yesterday was a catcher's interference. Something odd just seems to happen that bites him and costs him a run or so. Yesterday was catcher's interference. He's been good, but most guys on the Mets have not. The circle of trust, as they put it on yesterday's broadcast, is very, very limited at this point.
Well, we'll see what happens today. Let's talk about this one today.
Yeah.
Tyler Glasnow and Robbie Ray. Glasnow, big kid. Remember, I forgot he came from Pittsburgh to Tampa Bay, to the Dodgers. He's been around. He's 32, but he can throw the ball.
Yeah, he gets hurt every year. That seems to be his downfall. He throws from way over the top, like one of the highest release points in the sport. He has a great curveball. He has a high-octane fastball. The curveball is the finish pitch. It's one of the best curveballs in the sport. It has a nice big drop to it. It gets guys at the bottom of the zone. And in his last start, 7 hitless, 11 strikeouts. That's why they got him. He is their best pitcher if things are right. And against the Rockies, he was their best. But it's funny, it didn't stop the Giants against Kershaw yesterday. His history certainly. So I guess we'll see today.
Yeah, Kershaw is a different pitcher now, and he throws, as they say, a lot of slop up there. And you get him in long innings. I've always said this. You get him in a 25-pitch inning, you got him. And they did get him early, but they couldn't hold it yesterday. That was some game. Logan Webb complained about it afterwards that, he was throwing pitches that he usually doesn't throw, and he was getting hit by them. And, Mark, I know you're an analytical guy, but I assume because he got hit hard by the Dodgers the last time, they gave him a new game plan. And I think he's just got to go back and pitch the way he pitches. That was my take on him last night.
Yeah, so yesterday was funny because if you think about how the Dodgers always go against Giants pitchers, they always seem to be very passive. Like they take a lot of pitches, they draw a lot of walks, they wait guys out. They didn't do that yesterday. They were a little bit more aggressive. 17 hits is a lot. 17 hits is the most they've gotten against the Giants in 6-7 years. I think I would lean toward agreeing with what you said. I think that he got away from using his sinker completely. Basically, it was the smallest number of sinkers he'd thrown in a start in forever, 5-6 years. So yeah, I think that I think you have a reasonable take on that.
Yeah, I believe it. And if let him pitch his game, and that's what he's got to do. And unfortunately, they didn't let him do that last night. This Matt Gage hit Muncy in the head, and it sort of the Dodgers woke up a little bit before that. But the Dodgers looked like they played with a little more determination last night. And Gage hitting Muncy was one that I thought gave him a little bit more impetus. Did you see that?
Yeah, I think the combination of that and the fact that in the 10th inning on Friday they had the best hitters in the world up to try and win the game, and they blew it, by getting the guy thrown out at third and then losing it in the bottom of the 10th. I think they came out determined for a few different things, and that just the hit by pitch just reinforced it, and as you said, jolted them the rest of the game.
Yeah, he got hit twice. He got hit on Friday, and then he got beamed by Gage. And after that, Gage was not throwing inside anymore, and then he gave up a few runs. But the damage had been done the inning before with the former Met Buto on the mound. All right, let's talk Robbie Ray a little bit.
Sure.
His last 25 innings, 25 hits, 15 runs. He still doesn't give up many homers, but the fact of the matter is the Giants win when he pitches.
They do. He hasn't been the sharpest of selves, but he has among other things, the knuckle curve hasn't been as good as it had been at earlier points in the season. But his slider was better last start. That's something to build off of, certainly. It would be nice to get him to go deeper in games because, after what happened yesterday, you're going to need the bullpen a good amount today. I think the thing that will be interesting today is, I would guess in an ideal world, he would like it to go Robbie Ray to Peguero to Ryan Walker, if that's at all possible. Whether or not Robbie Ray runs into trouble with the Dodgers hitting pitches or taking pitches or whatever will influence whether that is the case. The one thing that Ray's got going, I mentioned the curveball hasn't been that great for him. Dodgers haven't hit lefty curveballs in recent time, I guess you would say.
No, in fact, I think Lucchesi becomes a big part of the game
Yep,
today.
him too, sure.
Because you got to deal with Ohtani, you got to deal with Freddie Freeman, you got to deal with Muncy, and Kiki Hernandez. If I saw this correctly, 5 homers off Robbie Ray. How is that possible?
Yeah, tied for his most. Blackman also had 5 against him. It's funny. He's got a lot of home runs, 5, and he's got a whole bunch of strikeouts too. I think like 16 or 17, a high number. Kike Hernandez has good numbers against Robbie Ray power-wise, which is a little strange.
I pointed out in the open, Patrick Bailey, he's having quite a September. He's got 4 home runs. He's driving in runs. He hit the grand slam right-handed. How about that? And left-handed, he got a big double last night that sort of brought the Giants back into the game again.
Yeah, he's been one of their best hitters against relief pitchers at the end of games. He's been one of their best hitters in high-pressure situations this season, which is funny because if you take everything else out, he's hitting like 200 in like normal situations, but he just seems to dial it up a notch. I don't understand why. It's funny how he can do that, and he's the best defensive catcher in baseball. I think we should keep that always front of mind. But it's funny to me that he's I don't want to say he's a zero, but he's a very minimal player at the start of games, and then later in games he just seems to lock in. And catchers are supposed to be tired in September, and he's not.
And he gets ahead in the count too. He comes up there hitting 190, 208, and before you know it, he's at 3-0 in the count. So he's doing something right, and he's been a big help. He's been a big help going down the stretch here. How about Matt Chapman? You hit the ball, they always say put it in the book. You hit the ball to third, you might as well just write it in the book. That's how good this guy is. It looks like he's on the top of his defensive game, and he's getting a couple of timely hits.
Yeah, he had this stretch with runners in scoring position where he couldn't do anything, but he seems to have fixed that. And defensively, he made a great play Friday. He made a great play yesterday. He's not going to win a Gold Glove this year. Brian Hayes statistically is way ahead of him, and I think by the eye test, no one's going to dispute, giving a Gold Glove award to Brian Hayes. But Matt Chapman is as good as it gets at third base. He has shown it the last couple of days, and he makes it's amazing to me how he's able to make the most out of a 240 batting average. He really does, with everything else that he does and with the power that he brings. He's been great so far.
Yep, and that's a very good phrase. He makes the most out of a 240 batting average. He really does, because he'll end up with 24, 25 home runs and 80 RBIs and hit 238, and it's really quite amazing. How about Verlander? Mark, really, I thought they should have traded him at the trade deadline, and we talked about should he be here next year, and I said no. Maybe I'm wrong about all this stuff. I mean, he's pitched really well, and he's dropping that slider curve in when you don't expect it. He's getting ahead of people. If the fastball's not there, he is a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Yeah, survived a 4 strikeout, 4 walk game, which he was able to gut his way through. Only allowed the 1 run. I was very I think this guy needs to retire camp. when he got right around when he got hurt. I didn't think that he had anything really left in the tank. But if you go back to when he did get hurt, he's been much better since his return. He's been fantastic the last 4, really. He's added the sweeper. The slider was a big pitch for him on Friday night, helped him get through 7 innings in a big way. Why wouldn't you want him at this point in the season? Because these are when the games are biggest. He's certainly pitched in a lot of big games. And, yeah, I think we may have been lulled into thinking that he was bad because of the fact that early in the season the Giants didn't field balls well for him, and they didn't score for him. But yeah, he's defied it. He's been better than I certainly would have ever thought down the stretch here.
Let's talk about some of the matchups today. You have Latz for Texas, and look, Bochy is at his finest handling the bullpen. I know it is not a happy moment for you guys to watch Bochy work, but to watch him handle that bullpen, he just has that magic. So he's got Latz, a lefty, today against McLean for the Mets. How do you like that game?
So the Mets have lost 4 in this losing streak to left-handed starting in games started by left-handed pitchers. They run into some issues against lefties in a weird way because Alonso hasn't been good at all versus left-handed pitching this season. It makes it harder for Soto. It makes it harder for Nimmo. It makes it harder for McNeil. But the Mets do have their best starting pitcher going right now, which is kind of crazy given that the guy's made 4 or 5 starts. Nolan McLean's been really good. He has found ways to last start. He found a way through, even though he was struggling. He only gave up 1 run. If he can't get through this, nobody can for them. This is a desperation game for them today, where I think they will play out every possible stop. And I'm sure Bruce Bochy will counter because he's in the same situation. He's got to pull out every possible stop. I think that'll be a good game.
Yeah, it's great to watch Boch work. It really is. And I will say this. The Mets aren't going to lose them all, and the Giants aren't going to win them all. So there's plenty of baseball left. Let's take a quick look at Cincinnati. They're on this road trip, San Diego and Sacramento. They're 2-3 now. They got Lodolo today against Morales, and this Nick Kurtz hit one about went to the moon last night, 495 feet. What about Cincinnati?
Yeah, they've gone to Sacramento and they've lost 2, and they have Lodolo, who I think is their second best guy going today, but Hunter Green didn't have a good start in Sacramento last night, which I think they were counting on him to be good. He left after 2 and change. I think they have great starting pitching. Their hitting has been somewhat of a problem spot, and I'm surprised that their offense isn't better than it is. Ellie De La Cruz hasn't hit a home run in like a very, very long time. I think it was like 1 in his last couple hundred at bats. They need to get him going in the right direction. I think that would be one thing that I would focus on today.
Boy, good week ahead. Giants hit the road for Arizona and the Dodgers. The Mets get the Padres and Washington. The Reds end up with St. Louis and the Cubs after today. So next week we will have an interesting discussion. As I say this every week now, who knows what's going to happen? But one thing, the Mets aren't going to lose them all. So there's a lot of baseball left.
Yeah, I think the thing that's a little scary is the Mets have not been good on the road, and they close with the Cubs and the Marlins, while the Giants are at home against the Cardinals and the Rockies. So I'm thinking ahead a little bit here, but it is very dicey for them at this point.
Yep. All right. Have a good afternoon, and we'll talk next week. Thanks, Mark.
See you, Marty.
All right. That is Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions. Bruce Jenkins next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, it's great to have Rick Robin back with us. Rick Robin Construction, Napa.com. Rick, it's great to have you with us. Last year, a major honor for you. You're the Napa Contractor of the Year. How about that?
Yeah, so it wasn't any advertising or anything. The customers voted, and I finished number 1.
I love it. Napa Valley Contractor of the Year. Rick, the things you specialize in, it's things that people need, and you take it from beginning to end. Let's go through the list.
We specialize in kitchens and baths. That's our main source. We do whole home remodels, brand new homes. We do ADUs. We do all your construction needs. Anything you need, just give us a call.
And the phone number is 707-332-7575. And of course, on the web, it's Rick Robin, ROBBEN, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, great to have you back with us. I look forward to a great season with you.
Oh, it's going to be great. Give us a call and talk to Tammy. If you like our quote, we'll take you down to our showroom. We'll pick out all your material and look forward to working with everybody.
Fans, the things I love about Rick, he does all the work. That's for me. Just a quick note about the rooftop restaurant at the Via Hotel, the Hotel Via across the street from the park. They do a wide variety of events on the rooftop, from weddings and birthdays to corporate retreats and special events, holiday events, and any other special occasion you can think of, with stunning 360 views of the skyline, Bay Bridge, East Bay, and of course Oracle Park. The rooftop at Via. is truly one of the most unique event venues in San Francisco.
Look through the window of the original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see two guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Lurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us. Game 3, Giants and Dodgers today. Glasnow and Robbie Ray, Bruce Jenkins. We've got a pennant race on our hands. How did that happen?
I don't know, but it's glorious, isn't it?
It's great every day. Come on.
Oh yeah, it really is. I mean, it's just so unpredictably great. I mean, the Giants are coming off the Bailey Grand Slam, just one of the great moments that they've ever had. And they're up against Kershaw. They take a lead. They're thinking, man, we're really onto something here. Next thing you know, with Webb pitching, and it blows up. I mean, it's just it's just all part of the magic of a pennant race. The only thing you can count on is that the Mets will never win again.
That's what I say. Can they lose them all? No. They you know how baseball works. But
yeah, I'm just kidding. But
no, I know. But once you hit that wall, especially with pitching, it's hard to turn it around. And the Mets, hitting-wise, they've sort of hit the wall. And, they're taking on Texas. And I don't know if you watched any of the games, but Bochy is there and doing his magic with the bullpen, the way he handles it. And, well, I'll tell you something, Bruce, just looking at him sitting in the dugout, and Bob Melvin's done a great job. Don't get me wrong. I miss Bochy, I must tell you.
Oh, it's just so great that he's still doing this. I mean, they don't have Semien, they don't have Seager, they don't have Eovaldi, they don't have Evan Carter, they don't have anybody except Wyatt Langford is one of the great young hitters in the game. But my goodness, they're just they're right there. That race is so exciting because Seattle is a really good story, and so is Houston. They got Correa back and everything else going on there, and that's going to go down to the wire. But they're down 2-0 to the Mets. It looks like the Mets are going to finally pull one out. They bring in Tyler Rogers, has been pretty unhittable, and the first thing that happens is catcher's interference. I mean, come on, that's how the Tex first rally started. The next thing you know, Rogers is out of there, gave up a sac fly. They try to bring in Diaz for 8th inning and 9th. That completely blows up, and they lose again. And the Phillies are so far ahead of them. They're up by 13 over the Mets. Seemed like just a couple weeks ago it was like two game lead or something.
Well, the Brewers clinched. They're in. The Phillies are about to win the division today, probably. Phillies may be the best team in the league right now. Yeah,
they really are going well. Their pitching has been good. Luzardo has been extremely good lately. They got a great start from Walker Buehler. I mean, this is how well they're going. Harrison Bader was a tremendous pickup. That guy is a breath of fresh air. He's been nothing but great. Schwarber hits number 51 yesterday. And by the way, he's hit 20 homers off a lefty this year. That's like Barry Bonds' territory. So they're just rolling into the postseason. If they get Trey Turner healthy for the playoffs, they're going to be really tough.
Well, I'm glad you brought up a little bit of the home run race. Let's look at it. Raleigh's got 53 now. I don't think he's going to get to 60, Bruce. This is trouble. Schwarber, though, 51. Ohtani hit just a bomb last night. He's got 49. And Judge at 47. This is still a pretty good race.
Yeah, I agree. I think 60 is a little beyond Raleigh. You don't know, but he's a switch hitter, and he's obviously been insane. But I like I don't know. I think I like Ohtani. Schwarber, he could hit 60, but that's something about that home run Ohtani hit last night. Just my goodness, this guy. I mean, he's so ridiculous. And Judge is trailing all three of them, but he'll get 50. It's great to see a bunch of guys in that 50 home run range. That's all you can ask from a home run race. And Schwarber's got a pretty good lead in the RBI race, which is significant.
Yeah, 126 to Alonso's 114.
Yeah.
Raleigh leads the American League with 113, and Suarez, I guess you can count him at 109, even though he's played for two teams.
Yeah.
But, on this I guess the MVP thing, I know we kick it around every once in a while, and I was tending towards Schwarber, but the more I watch Ohtani and the more I see the Dodgers and what they don't do and what he does do, I think without him they would be in real deep trouble.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. He's just routinely, otherworldly, really. The home runs he hit are just majestic and life changing, and he's pitching. He's pitching great all of a sudden. They're being super careful with him, and the way their rotation shapes up, they could go into the playoffs and not necessarily needing him to be in their playoff rotation. Kershaw, Yamamoto's unhittable right now. Glasnow have had no hit stuff his last time out. Kershaw, Snell. I mean, they haven't even ruled out the kid Sasaki. So when Ohtani pitches, it's going to be kind of on his terms and the club's terms, and right when they need him. And he's still throwing. Really his velocity hasn't dropped at all. And what a thing! Who is this guy?
Yeah, and I think they say he could be closing for him because as you watch them, Tanner Scott, Bruce, he's not going to make it through October. I'm telling you, he's not. They got real trouble in the bullpen, the Dodgers do.
Yeah, they do. It could be a reprise of, remember when Ohtani came out of the bullpen to face Mike Trout on the WBC for Japan? I mean, you could see that happening in certain games. All of a sudden it comes out of that, and there he is. It's beautiful.
Well, they have to do it. I mean, the playoffs, and Bochy taught me this. You must win this game right now.
Yes.
And he will come out of the bullpen. I'll guarantee Ohtani's going to close something. In the batting race, Trey Turner is hurt. He's hitting .305, which guarantees at least the National League will have a hitter that's hitting .300 winning the batting title. Bruce, we're starting to go back to Snuffy Sternweiss and people like that who, won the title with low numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I always think about going way back in 1930, which was a wildly aberrational season, but the whole league hit 300. Seriously, or close. One of the two leagues hit 300. I mean, the entire league. And here we have one guy in the National League. But Snuffy Sternweiss notwithstanding, I'm thinking more like Brett and Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew. That's a real batting champion. 305 doesn't cut it.
Looking at the Giants, if you had to pick an MVP, now of course there's still 13 games to go and a lot can happen down the stretch here. Where would you go on that for the Giants if you had to pick one?
Well, no question, Drew Gilbert. I mean, I'm just kidding there. He's actually a big part of it, but I think I'm torn between Chapman and Adames. They always seem to win when Chapman's in the lineup. When he's out there, they're not the same, obviously, but he makes these great plays. He's a clutch hitter. Adames, of course, he's right there because he's not only a two-way player and really hitting the ball, but he's an unbelievable teammate. There's nothing phony about the wild man act that he stages celebrating other people's success, and it really is contagious. It's a huge thing. So I'm going to go back and forth between those guys and wait to see how it finishes, but those are the two guys for me.
Yeah, I'm leaning to Adames and what he does, and when was the last time you saw any Giant player come out of the dugout? Every time to greet someone. That's just not the way the Giants play. And when was the last time you saw like an eighth grader like Gilbert? Start
shaking uncontrollably.
It's not eighth grade PA, pal. Come on, you're playing for the Giants. He's got to get a little bit of a grip, I think.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see Chapman just fake strangling him too many more times. I think Gilbert's he's made it clear that he really cares and he's incredibly passionate, and I love it really. I don't think it's been like dangerously over the top or anything. The thing about Gilbert is that he's a real ball player. He's a real good outfielder, and that saves him because if he gets in a slump, he's still got that, and he's been hitting the ball hard. But I agree. I think as we get closer to it, he won't be shaking uncontrollably too often or just going completely berserk in the dugout.
No, eighth grade's over, Drew. It's okay. It's okay. Good historical note. Denny McClain. Bruce wins
Yeah.
a 30th game, 1968. No, we're not talking about Peralta winning 16 or something like that. 30 for Denny McClain. How about that?
Yeah, this is a guy. He's 29-5 going into the game. He's facing it was 68. He's facing the A's, which was their first season. Not a great team, but in that game where he won his 30th, Reggie Jackson's 22 years old. He goes, I don't care who this guy is. He homered twice in the game, and of course now McClain would have been out in the sixth. But in those days, the Marshall finished 30 games that year. Gibson and McClain, 28 complete games. That's when a pitcher's duel were for real. I don't have to remind people that this season the leader in complete games in the big leagues, two leads it. It's sickening. It really is. It's pathetic. And meanwhile, everybody's getting hurt. I mean, I don't want to say it was better viewing back then. Whether it was better baseball, I don't know. But anyway, Denny McClain, a real character. Clearly loved associations with the Michigan mob. He loved Sinatra. That's the life he wanted. And he got in trouble, with the gamblers. He got suspended. Remember that great 1967 pennant race with Detroit and Minnesota and Boston? McClain was really struggling down the stretch. It's like, geez, what's wrong with this guy? And it turns out he said, well, I injured a couple toes on my left foot. I stubbed it, and things went wrong. But the story was that he was so down in his gambling that somebody came to visit him and stomped on his feet and crushed his toes. Entirely believable.
It's true.
And Detroit, he didn't pitch until the last game of the season. He didn't win it. They didn't move on. And meanwhile, he drank one of his 24 Pepsis a day. 24.
I was going to say, at least 24 Pepsis a day. He played the organ, flew his own plane, and probably bet on every game he pitched. And that was but he won 30. Incredible.
And then he won number 31, which was Mickey Mantle's last game in Detroit, and everybody knew that. And there's a lot of different versions of this, but basically it boils down to McClain was just going to throw him fastballs in the last at bat. Mantle knew it. The catcher knew it, and he put one in the upper deck, and he got one. He got ahead of Jimmy Fox on the all-time list, and now at that point he's only behind Ruth and Willie Mays. A big deal for Mantle. And McClain, he's proud of it. He goes, I got a hell of a fastball here. That's what I'm going to throw you. See what you can do with it. Beautiful moment.
Yeah, Mickey didn't believe him, and finally he did. Finally.
Yeah.
I met McClain in Cooperstown, and he was signing baseballs. And normally I don't pay for someone to sign a baseball. I paid him, and he signed the baseball and wrote a whole bunch of stuff on it.
That's an epic signature right there. It's a good thing he didn't have his cap on. He wouldn't be able to see him. He wore it down so he couldn't see his eyes.
Oh, good baseball. Good base. This is a good week, Bruce. We'll see what happens.
Man.
We'll talk next week.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Have a good day. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's Bruce Jenkins. Boy, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. The professor next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hi, it's Marty Lurie reporting from River Islands, where Bay Area home buyers have been discovering the good life for the past 10 years. I don't think there's another location in the greater Bay Area that offers such a terrific combination of homes, lakes, parks, and schools. Not only is the natural setting magnificent, close to the San Joaquin River, but there are whole neighborhoods built around lakes with docks to let you go rowing or kayaking right from your backyard. There are baseball fields and soccer fields and fields just for sitting back and taking in the view. I like that. River Islands High School is brand new and beautiful, and the 3 K through 8th grade schools are among the highest scoring in the county. How about that? Del Webb, a specialist in 55-plus living, offers 3 model complexes in its own master planned community built within River Islands. More than ever, River Islands has it all, and it's all priced from $600,000 to over $1 million. Go to riverislands.com, see for yourself how you like it, how the good life is, and how it can be your life. That's riverislands.com. Hello again, Marty Lurie here to talk about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. Right now and good through October 27th. Now listen to this. You can save 10% on all qualifying stressless sofas, recliners, chair and ottoman sets, sectionals, as well as accessories in the stressless line. I love this line of furniture. Also, there's a $400 savings on all power recliners. How about that? This is absolutely one of the best stressless sales offered all year. You can literally save hundreds, even thousands of dollars. I own stressless furniture, and I can tell you, it's the most comfortable place to sit in my home. Visit them at georgiebrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Or even better, stop by their 50,000 square foot showroom in South San Francisco.
Time now to go to Sunday school with the professor.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you?
Giants coach Ron Wotus with Marty Lurie.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
On your home of Giants baseball.
Good answer. Like the way you think.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Brought to you by River Islands, one of the country's top-selling master plan communities just across the Altamont in Lathrop. Where else can you live on a lake next door to a park or walking distance to your kid's new school? With 10 new neighborhoods, River Islands is the one place you can't afford to miss.
All right, great to have you back with us. Whoa, how are you this morning?
Hey, Marty, I'm doing well.
Okay, got a note from Colleen of River Islands. 15 neighborhoods are open now, 40 model homes to tour, 4,000 houses have been sold, adding up to 12,000 people living there. How about that?
That's unbelievable. You said 40 model homes. I remember looking for a home, and you go through 2 or 3 models at a complex, right? And, you know, they have the space, though, out there. They have the space. They have, you know, the land, all the walking trails, obviously. They do have the space to have that many model homes. And as you always like to say, there's something for everybody, right? There's different price ranges, different floor plans and mounts of bedrooms. So it's amazing how they've grown, and they just continue, regardless of the year. They just continue to move forward.
Yeah, the 40 model homes got me. And you're right. When I got the house, when we lived up in Kensington, I think that's the only house I ever looked at. And then when we moved to Montclair, I think I looked at 2 houses. One was on Snake Road, and I almost bought it. And the kid said, "Are you crazy?" And that was it. And then I ended up in Montclair. So 40 homes, it's a lot to look at.
Yeah, it is, and you always want to buy the model home, don't you, Marty? When you look through that, and then you look at the other. You want that model home because it's all tricked out and ready to go for you.
All right, I'm glad we could mention that. Well, what a weekend! Whoa, how, from your viewpoint, I mean, you know, you're there, Buster's near you, watching Bailey hit a slam on Friday night. Come on, to right-handed to win it, and then they knock Kershaw out, and all hell broke loose after that. What a weekend.
Yeah, it is. Look, you know, 2 weeks ago where we were at, we weren't going to have this moment, but here we are playing the Dodgers at home, and we only get them twice at home. You know, we're a half game out of the wild card. Of course, we got to deal with the tiebreaker with the Mets. The Mets are, you know, opening the door for us. Of course, you got Cincy and even Arizona. You can't count them out. But we wouldn't have had that moment if we didn't play so well, and these other teams have faltered a little bit to give us this opportunity. And if you're not ready to play today, you better check your pulse, because you go to spring training right back in February, and it's all for this. So I don't know if we got 14 or 15 games left, but you know, every one for me is a playoff game, and that's how you want to approach it. It's a must-win game. Now, you know you can't win every one, but you're certainly going to try to manage the game and play as if they are. And, you know, if you play well, which we've seen with the Giants in the past going into the playoffs, it bodes extremely well for your performance in the playoffs.
Well, what's the atmosphere like, though, in a game in, let's say, June, compared to what it's going to be this morning when you walk in?
Yeah, I said it's like a playoff game to me. Haven't been through it all these years. You know the importance of these games. The atmosphere, the first night against the Dodgers was as good as it gets. Verlander pitched at gem. He even said after the game, because he moved up on the strikeout list, and it was the anniversary of his 20 years in the league. The team presented him with some wine and the bat and made him say a couple things. It was just an electric night, and he even said it. He goes, "That was as good a game that he's been involved with," and that's saying a lot what this guy has done in his career. So the atmosphere is electric. It's the Dodgers. And this is why you play the game, to play your rivals, have packed houses. The support's been unbelievable, the noise level. So, no, we really need to win this game today, obviously, because it's not going to get any easier when we go down to L.A.
No. Are you scoreboard watching, though? Are you looking at the Mets score and knowing Bochy's in New York with Texas and the bullpen, he changes pitchers every 7 seconds, are you watching that?
Yeah, I am. Look, it's a little different now. Obviously, I'm not a full-time coach and don't have to prepare, for the game planning of the game with the infield and the defense and all that type of stuff. So I have my eye on it. I was particularly interested in, Boch's game with DeGrom back in New York. I was checking Cincinnati and Oakland. They're doing a great job helping us out up there. So love that. You glance, and the players glance too, but the mentality is just win today, and you can't worry about the other teams. You can't say, oh, they lost, so we're okay. No, you have to win the game, and that's what the mentality is here today, is just one at a time. The old cliches, right, Marty? That's why they're there, because they're meaningful. They make sense. It's one game at a time, and let's just try to win today's game. And regardless what the other teams do, we can't control.
Well, that's that. I said that earlier in the show. And I learned it from you guys. You win and Joe Torre, I learned it from him too back in 2000 when he had Andy Pettit in Game 5 against the A's, and the A's knocked him out, and he brought Stanton in the 4th inning. I learned you must win today's game, no matter what it takes, and don't worry about tomorrow. And I think that mentality has got to be part of what goes on here.
Yeah, you know what, Marty, to follow up on that, every game matters. Look, you can look back through the course of the year and say, well, there's 5 games we should have won. See if we would have won those games. But the reality is, early in the year, in the middle of the year, it doesn't have the same energy or the importance, because we're here now. And if we can't get it done, that's what we're going to remember. You can't go back 3 months and say, if we would have won those games. So that's why it's special in September. That's why it's so important to win now. And you have to treat them like playoff games, because early in the year, you won't do that, right? You're going to give your players a rest. You're not going to overtax your pitching staff. But right now, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah, boy, it is that way. Well, looking at some of the leaders on the ball club, and this was brought up in one of the broadcasts yesterday, not the Giant one, but something else. Do leaders go up to other players and say something if a guy throws to the wrong base or dives when he shouldn't? Does a leader on a ball club go up and say something, or is that just the coach's job?
It's a little of both. Depends on the guys that you have. I think it more happens in the clubhouse after the game or the next day. You don't see a lot of players in the moment. When you do see players going to each other, usually is when you're playing bad and things are getting really ugly. That's where everybody's, patience and temperature is a little running a little hotter than when you're playing well. I think it's important, and I think for the players and the coaches and all of us, you have to play, confident baseball. You have to believe and be confident and be positive. So, in the moment, at least for me, I don't want to bring any negativity to the player when these games are so meaningful. It'll be addressed at some point, but you want to wait for the right time. And I see a lot of the veterans, Adames in our hitters meetings, they're all saying the right things. They're ready to go. And that's the tone and the vibe that you want. It's very easy to bring somebody down if you hit them too hard in big games like this. We need them to put it behind them and be ready for the next pitch or the next at bat.
Boy, there's a lot of throws and people being caught at the plate, and it's almost like a mentality around baseball. Send them. Make everyone make the throws. I'm seeing more of that, maybe because outfielders don't work on their throws as much. Who knows? But are you finding that it's more send, send, send?
Yes, I am, absolutely. Matter of fact, when the old regime was here and I was coaching third, and they suggested I read a book about coaching third base and sending guys, and it was the same mentality. The percentages are with you to send guys, even when you think that they're going to be out. And of course, being on the field and coaching third, any third base coach will tell you, there's a lot more that goes into it than just the distance and sending guys. I mean, the outs, the score, who's coming up. You have to consider all that stuff because the other variables come into play. And, I've always felt if I know a guy's going to be out because I'm going on the reputation of the outfielder or the infielder on the relay, if I know because of the timing of things, I'm not going to count on a bad throw from a guy that's got a plus arm and is very accurate. It just doesn't sit well with me. So I think we all want to be aggressive. There's times to push it, but let's use it as an example. If that's all you do is want to send everybody, and you're playing a close game, and you got two or three guys thrown out of the base, it could be the difference in the game when you have a good hitter coming up and put it in the hand of your good player. So there's a lot more that goes into it, but I do agree. I think that the mentality more so into your first point is outfielders don't throw like they used to. I was real pleased with Ramos. He made a couple of good throws this series to bases. He did a nice job there. But you look all in all, there's just a handful of guys that are above average throwers that are accurate. You see the throws all over. And to your point, I mean, you see everybody just pushing the envelope. So you have to know who's in the field, but being aggressive at the right time with good judgment is always a good thing when you want to push the envelope and make people make plays.
How'd you like McRae's throw?
I loved it. He has that ability. Not only, was it an accurate throw, it bounced a couple times. He has a plus arm, and he could have threw it in the air, but he still made a really good throw. He got also the quick release, which people don't think about. I mean, he caught that ball and got rid of it. He tries to stay under 1 second from when he catches it to release of the ball. So, I mean, that play right there changed the game, and I was happy for him. He's not playing a lot, and you want to contribute. And, I've seen him the last 4 or 5 days. We've been talking quite a bit. He's out there working on his throwing. He's shagging balls. He's going over to the bases. He's doing everything he can possibly do to be ready for the moment. And that's what you want out of your players this time of year, whether they're playing or not. They have to be ready for the moment that they're called upon, and it takes all 26 guys on the roster.
Yeah, it's funny. The Giants walk off on Friday night on the grand slam by Bailey. I think out of the corner of your eye, whenever you do something like that, you want to always know where Gilbert is because you want to make sure he's not going to jump on you.
That's right, or bite you or something.
Come on.
Yeah, he's letting his hair down, as we like to say. He's very comfortable. He's had a little success, and he's enjoying himself. And you know what? Sometimes guys like that with the energy can bring a little levity and spark you a little bit. And I think he's had a positive effect on the club with his youthful enthusiasm. And sometimes a club needs that, and he's been performing better, so it's really good to see.
Yeah, you always have to know where he is. That's my point. You always got to keep your eye on him.
Yeah.
But the other one I want to mention, and he's had a good September. He really has, and he's got a lot of RBIs now, and he's got 4 homers in September, and that's Bailey. And everyone thought he's going to wear down in September. He got better.
Yeah, he has. He's playing better. I just checked it last night. He had 120 games played, which is, really good. And I looked at Will Smith. Of course, he's on the IL right now. I like to compare the catchers. I used to compare Posey and Yadi Molina to games played because, everybody handles the catchers with kid gloves, and rightfully so. They need their days off, and a lot goes into that thought. But, Bailey's got 10 more games than Will Smith. And of course, he's an important piece for us as a catcher. Sometimes the backup that you have or the other alternative might push a regular to play a little bit more. But to your point, he's had a lot of clutch hits here in the second half. It's funny when it's meaningful, he seems to rise to the occasion.
Hey, you got to see Rodriguez up in Sacramento. We didn't have a chance to talk about that. What did you think of him? This is the kid who came over from the Yankees.
From the Yankees. I saw him catch one game. I've seen him play about four. He was DHing earlier, and he DH'd one of the games when I was up there. Just the way they talk about him, bat to ball skills. He's really good at hitting the ball the other way. He stays on the ball. So he's going to put the ball in play, and I think that's one thing that's very attractive. We have a lot of guys that have high strikeout rates, and you think about Felipe Alou when he managed. He says the one thing I cannot manage is a pop-up and a strikeout, and it's true. I mean, you got a man on second, you want to move him to third, you strike out, you're not getting the job done. You have a man on third, one out, you want to get him in. If you strike out, you're not getting it done. So putting the ball in play, a la the Milwaukee Brewers, they have a lot of guys that just battle you and put the ball in play. We've all seen, what can happen. There's errors. We find holes. Last night they found a lot of holes by making contact on Webby. So he's a nice-looking player. But the thing I like most about him, Marty, is his attitude. He's genuine. He cares. He's passionate, and he wants to get better. Runs the bases, a little better than average runner. Not a burner, but he's smart. He looks like a true baseball player, if we can use that term.
Wow, nice. Very good. I hope they get him up here maybe this year. There's not much time left. You had a good time in San Jose also. Boy, every time you go down to San Jose, they win a pennant.
How about that? From Lenny Cicada to Edwin Villegas, they got a chance. They're playing their first game today in the championship series in San Jose. So hopefully people can get out there and support them. They do a great job with Ishikawa's down there, Dan Runsler, two ex-Giants. You got Nate Keevy, the fundamental coach, is doing a great job, and the manager. And, I'd just like to mention, too, the Eugene Ball Club got knocked out of the playoffs last night. They lost to Everett 3-1, so they were trying to get to the championship as well. So their season's over, but San Jose continues today to try to win another championship.
That was Johnny Level. I love him.
Johnny Level.
Love the name.
Johnny Level. Yeah, it is. Johnny Boomba. He does have a big league name, does he? Johnny Level from the Dominican. You would never have thought it.
I love it. All right. Hey, whoa, another screening of our movie, The Baseball Mensch, the Marty Lurie story. 2 weeks, September 27th at 7 o'clock at the Vogue Theater, Presidio in Sacramento. And then that's going to be open to the public. So I hope if you're around, maybe you can be there again. We had fun the first time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Everybody did. The place was packed. It was sold out. So they need another one, and who knows how many more they're going to have. And I know it's in the works to get your documentary out in other theaters around the country. And hopefully that effort will do very well, because it is well done, Randy and his group. And you were fabulous, Marty. I mean, you had some very comedic moments in that documentary, and I think there's a little bit something for everybody. So if people haven't seen it, they need to get out there to the Vogue Theater and watch this documentary. It's great.
Yeah, September 27th at 7 o'clock, so that's when that's happening. All right, well, enjoy today. It's Giants-Dodgers, and I guess you got to say goodbye to Kershaw last night. That may be it for him.
Well, I got one stat to leave you with Kershaw. Jeremy Shelley, I was sitting with him last night, and did you realize that now he has pitched, until before last night, he's pitched 59 times against the Giants, and there was only 9 times and 59 times that we scored 2 runs or more.
Really?
So 50 times we did not score more than 2 runs. Last night we had 4 in the first, right? And so it would have been 60 games where we scored over 2 runs. And but we weren't able to get the win. And shoot, we had him. But anyways, you're right. He's been a great pitcher, and he's been really a difficult pitcher for us.
All right. Well, we'll always have Wotus and Kershaw. We know that one. We remember
Okay.
that one.
Yeah, a little
All right,
spring
well,
training action. All right.
Absolutely. Have a good Sunday. This is what baseball is all about, and I'll see the games down here in Arizona, so plenty to talk about next week.
Yeah, look forward to it, and really looking forward to today's game. All right, Marty, thank you.
All right, take care. All right. More coming up. Glenn Kuiper next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, Bridge Bank delivers their clients full relationship banking, including treasury management solutions and global market services. Bridge Bank offers financing solutions to businesses for their working capital, equipment, and real estate needs. This is very important in today's world. Fred Voss is the Senior Managing Director of Bridge Bank's commercial lending efforts in Northern California. He has commercial banking teams in San Jose with Jesse Garcia, San Francisco, Oakland, Cheadle, Cordova, and in Pleasanton. Bridge Bank, it's like banking at home. I can't say enough about it.
Giants fans. First pitch isn't too far away as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the sports leader.
All right, Robbie Ray and Tyler Glasnow. The Giants are a half a game behind the Mets. Cincinnati a game and a half behind the Mets and 13 games to go, and this is what baseball is all about. Kerry Crowley, Glenn Kuiper. Kerry, good morning. How are you?
Oh, doing quite well, Marty. So much to talk about this morning. So many exciting things happening across Major League Baseball, and I wasn't going to say it a few weeks ago, but I'm ready to say it now. The Giants are in this thing, Marty.
Thank you. Thank you. I was waiting for that. Yes, they are. And, it's a game of veterans taking over and pitching and things like that. And, Glenn, you know it, and you've been on this as well. The veterans of the Giants are doing their job, and Verlander had the game of his life the other night. And this is pretty exciting baseball.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Friday night was unbelievable. I mean, what a great atmosphere. Right from, pregame, you could just tell it was a different feel. Obviously, the crowd was super psyched. A lot of Dodger fans there, and it was super fun. Yeah, the veterans are, doing what they need to do to get this team where it's at now. And I think, too, guys, is another important thing is, there are a fair amount of young players that are kind of getting a chance here. Some of these bullpen guys, a couple of starters, and not everybody's having success all the time as far as these young guys go. But think about how important it is for what they're experiencing right now. Just being part of this whole thing, that's a big deal. It's important for these young guys to be part of this and play in these games and learn what it's like to play in games like that. And it's going to help them in their career. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to turn a utility guy into an all-star, but it will help them down the road getting a good feel for what this stuff is all about.
Kerry, what about Peguero? A lot of people say, well, make him the closer now instead of Walker and all that. How do you think they should handle Peguero and Walker as we go down the stretch here?
Yeah, I think they're in an interesting position, Marty, because this is a team that needs its bullpen every single day. Logan Webb goes 4 innings last night. Robbie Ray hasn't gone more than 5 innings in his last 4 starts. I mean, you've got Carson Seymour and Kai Tang in this rotation. The Giants are just going to have to go closer by committee almost because of the fact that they need so many relievers on any given day. And so I like the idea of giving Peguero high-leverage situations, but you can't just pull Ryan Walker from every high-leverage situation. You can't just say, we don't really trust you in the 9th inning, because if they're going to win as many games as they need to win down the stretch, they're probably going to need both of these guys to pitch the 8th and the 9th inning with regularity. They're going to need a number of other relievers to factor into the high-leverage situations. Someone who pitched in last night's game, Jose Butto, who came in after Logan Webb and gave up all those runs, he's going to need to pitch high-leverage innings. The Giants are just to the point where they've given up Camilo Doval and Tyler Rogers, and Randy Rodriguez is out for the season with Tommy John surgery on the horizon. They need all of these guys to pitch in high-leverage situations. So I'm fine seeing Walker in the 9th inning. I'm fine if they go to Peguero more often. But bottom line is, if they are going to make this thing happen, if they're going to make a run, both of these pitchers are going to be in high-leverage situations with games on the line, and the Giants are just going to have to trust them.
Where are you on this, Glenn? Do you put Peguero in the 5th inning when look, they brought Butto in a critical point last night to keep the game where it was, and he gave it up, and then Gage gave it up. We'll talk about him in a minute. But is Peguero a guy you bring in the 5th inning when you need to get out of the jam?
Well, I mean, listen, if you had the bullpen you had before, then absolutely. But, as Kerry said, this is a whole different group. It was a terrific bullpen early in the year. But, it's different. There's guys that are going to be pitching in spots that, none of us may be comfortable with here in the last 2 weeks. But that's just what they have, and you got to go with it. I think Peguero could pitch the 9th inning, but I wouldn't just, anoint him. So you're the close. I mean, like you said, you may need him in the 7th inning. I would not have brought him in the 5th inning, because that game to me last night just had the feel of there was going to be more scoring after the fifth inning, right? It just sort of had that feel. But I would have Peguero ready to pitch the ninth inning if needed. But still, I think you still got to go with Walker. He has the experience. Has he been shaky this year? Absolutely. But listen, I think there's going to be some bullpen high wire acts the rest of the year just because of you don't have a lot of experienced guys out there. You just don't. You have what you have, and they're going to have to just hold on. It's not easy for the manager, but they've done a decent job. Last night got ugly. But, yeah, I would just make sure you got Peguero and Walker ready late and see what happens in innings, 6, 7. So it's not easy right now because of the inexperience in that bullpen. But, Kerry's right. These guys are all going to have to step up in these final 2 weeks because you can't have a hiccup. You just can't at this point. There's too much at stake. So a lot of pressure on guys who have not necessarily been in important roles before or even been in the big leagues before. So just kind of hold your breath with the bullpen.
Kerry, last night Gage hit Muncy. Muncy got hit the day before. Bailey walks it off with a grand slam Friday night. Did the Dodgers wake up a little bit? The Dodgers looked a little different last night for some reason.
Yeah, they looked a little different last night, but I'll say this. Each of the 3 series that these teams have now played this season, there's a fourth coming up next week, a huge one at Dodger Stadium. The Giants have won on Friday night in each of the 3 series in rather dramatic or compelling fashion. You go back to Dodger Stadium in June, and Casey Schmidt hits the grand slam that helps them beat Yamamoto, and Webb goes 7 innings of 2-hit ball. And then in July, back at Oracle Park, you look at that 8-7 game from Friday night, the back-and-forth affair, and the Giants come out on top of that one. And then the Dodgers come back and win the next 2 days. And then, of course, on Friday evening, Justin Verlander throws the gem. Bailey responds in the 10th inning with the big grand slam off of Tanner Scott. And each of these 3 occasions, Marty, I thought, wow, the Giants have an opportunity to really put their foot on the gas pedal and dismiss the Dodgers, take off here, and use this as momentum. And I give a lot of credit to Dave Roberts in Los Angeles. This team is not fazed by a whole lot. In fact, this team loses a game and they feel as if they should win every single game. That's the Dodgers mentality. So did they wake up when they were hit last night when Max Muncy was hit? Possibly, but I think that the Dodgers have been engaged from the first pitch on. This is not a team that I would count out at any point of any ball game, any series. I mean, you have to play a complete 9 innings to beat the Dodgers, and that's, to me, what's so impressive about this team. It's 17, 18 games for 500 is they've had a lot of guys underperform this year. They've had a lot of guys who've been disappointing this year. They've had to patch their pitching rotation together at various points, and yet they are a mentally tough group. And so I don't know that it was that singular moment. I've been impressed by the way that they've just responded in all 3 of these series against the Giants. And that's why I think, if the Giants are going to get into the postseason, potentially set up this wild card matchup that in all likelihood would come against the Dodgers, you have to play 27 innings of great baseball to be able to beat this team in a series.
Yeah, the Dodger bullpen is not great. Let's face it. And Tanner Scott has almost hit the wall here. So if you can get him late, you probably can do some damage to him. Glenn, what do you think about the matchup today? You've seen Glasnow before, Robbie Ray. I pointed out earlier, last 5 starts, the Giants are 5-0, even though he's been giving up some runs. They win for him. What do you think about today?
Yeah, Robbie Ray, I mean, he's sort of been grinding, the last handful of starts, but still, pretty good, but not necessarily pitching deep into games. But all in all, he's been pretty darn good, and he's such an important part of this team now. And Glasnow, listen, I mean, he's back, he's healthy, and he's coming off a performance where literally his last start, he threw a 7-inning no-hitter, and they took him out because of the pitches and that type of thing. But when this guy's on, I mean, he's as good as anybody. He's the kind of guy who could win a Cy Young if he were ever to stay healthy and make 32, 33 starts. So he's starting to, kind of come into his own a little bit like this whole rotation is for the Dodgers because they're healthy. So it's not going to be easy today with Glasnow. And you got to just watch, if you can tell the stuff is there early on, then you're going to be in for a battle, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. I love what Robbie Ray does. Today would be a great idea, to try to get through 6 innings, but not easy. I mean, this Dodger, you guys, your last comments about the Dodgers, you're just not going to shut them down 2 or 3 games in a row. It's just too good. Their offense is really, really good. They're third in the big leagues in runs scored for a reason, and we've seen it in the past, guys, where just what happened last night, where they can start rolling, and then the hits just keep coming, and the runs just keep coming. And that happens sometimes, and it happened last night. So I'm looking forward to the matchup today. I think it's going to be another one of those tight ones, maybe not quite as tight as the other night where there just wasn't a lot there for either offense. But today, I could see it being somewhat of a low-scoring game. And, that's when these bullpens come into play, guys. And, it's that time of year where the bullpens are so important. And that's why we just have to hope that this Giants bullpen can just do whatever you have to do to get it done, whoever the ball is given to.
Gary, what's the key for you? They come here to Arizona for 3, then, my God, 4 in L.A. That's the thing. And then maybe the gift from God, St. Louis and Colorado at home for the final 6. What do you think about these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think this is the big week. If the Giants can make it through Arizona and L.A. in these next 8 days and stay within a game or 2 games of the Mets and the Cincinnati Reds, for that matter, I mean, the Reds are still very much a part of this whole thing, then I think they can pull this off in the final week at home. It's just about getting home to face the Cardinals and the Rockies. But, Marty, I'll be honest, I think the Giants should be worried about their pitching heading into Arizona. I don't know about setting up Carson Seymour and Kai Tang in this bullpen to go up against a Diamondbacks team that has proven it can be really tough on the Giants. I don't think the D-backs are a great team. They've obviously traded a number of players, but I think that they can be a tough out, especially late in games with their speed, with the defense that they play. They're solid players all around the diamond. So going right there to Chase Field for 3 and then following that up with Logan Webb at Dodger Stadium Thursday night, that's, to me, the game that I circle on the calendar. I mean, they've got to win that one. Webb sets the tone for that series. He didn't pitch well in July against the Dodgers. He didn't pitch well last night against the Dodgers. I think he has got to come out on Thursday night and set the tone for the series. And then they've got to build off the momentum of that. It's at least got to be a split in LA next week. You'd like to go 4-3 on this road trip. I don't think 3-4 completely takes them out of it. But again, you don't want to leave that up to chance. You want to win every single game that's in front of you, and obviously that's not going to happen over the final 14 for the Giants, but you'd like to see them at least go 9-5 down the stretch here to give themselves the best possible shot. So to me, it's all about surviving the road trip. How do you see it?
Well, I think Cincinnati's got to be watched because they play all their games pretty much after today in the Central. And the Giants and Reds tied 3-3 in the season series, so now it goes to intra-divisional games. The Giants are 19-22 within the division. The Reds are 17-22 within their division. So I think it's important to get some losses for the Reds in their division, number one. And number two, I think it's the Giants have got to be careful here in these games against the Dodgers and Arizona to really somehow get into the bullpens of both of those teams. If you get into the Arizona bullpen and if you can get into that Dodger bullpen at the end, I think you got a chance. And I think the Giants have got to play a full 9 innings. It's not one of those step on them early and you're not going to knock these teams out of the game, but you're going to have to deal with the end of the game. And for me, that's Peguero, that's Lucchesi, that's Walker, that's Buto. They're going to be critical for me this week. I think it's the bullpen this week for the Giants. And Glenn, I'll ask you that.
Yeah, and I think too that the first 2 games in Arizona, obviously today, every game's important, But as Kerry was saying, this Arizona series, Verlander, I would guess, lined up to pitch Wednesday in the series. But, those first 2 games of that series, you're probably going to have Tang and Seymour. And, again, that's where the uncertainty comes in, but that's where the opportunity comes in for these young guys. But, that's just where the Giants are at with their rotation. Wisenhunt, you thought you had him, but he's trying to fight back here now from an injury. But the point is I think those first two games in Arizona against you guys are right. The Diamondbacks are a tough group offensively, and especially in that ballpark because they run around. So I got my fingers crossed those first two games because you're asking these two young kids to step up and try to give you 5, right, in the middle of a pennant race. So I think those two games are huge. Just trying to get this huge road trip coming off on the right foot because you're going to go to Dodger Stadium and it's tough there. So it's crazy, but it's so much fun, because every game now is you can't lose. And I said this, I think you guys would probably agree with me. I said it before the Dodgers series. I think even though the Giants are only a half game back, right, so they're right there, but I think at this point in the season, you cannot afford to lose 2 games in a row. That's how close you are, right? You only have 13 games left. I'm strong on that. You cannot afford to lose 2 in a row. There's so much sitting on every single game. But boy, you lose 2 in a row, and you start scratching your head a little bit. We've just seen the Reds lose 2 in a row to the A's. So it's going to be interesting, and this is a great week. It's a great week because the Mets have the Padres this week. That's not easy. And the Reds host the Cubs on the weekend. So just great scoreboard watching this next week.
Yeah, Washington also with the Mets. Washington's starting to hit a little bit, and they got that Alvarez lefty, and Lord. So Washington all of a sudden is a pain in the neck. That's the second half of the Mets week there, and you're right. Cubs on the weekend for the Reds. They got the Cardinals for 3 before that. It's Gallen, Rodriguez, and Fought for Arizona. And I'll say it again. Get into the Arizona bullpen. That's going to be the key for me. But let's go to something a little lighter. Anthony Rizzo retired yesterday. The former Cub. He played for the Yankees. You know where I'm going with this. So, Kerry, this one is made for you. Anthony Rizzo retires, goes into the bleachers at Wrigley, and Ballesteros hits his first major league home run, and who almost catches it? Anthony Rizzo. Come on. Can this happen?
It just gives you also, Marty, a great appreciation for the fans who do catch home runs on the fly. I think it's challenging. I've been out there in the bleachers. I've had a ball come soaring at me, 400 feet in the air, and you're trying to track it with your bare hand. It's difficult. And the fact that Anthony Rizzo had the ball hit right to him, didn't have to move, and he still didn't come up with this. I mean, this is a major league player who caught everything over at first base. Incredible defensive player. And yet, he couldn't come up with the home run ball. I think it's just, you would only see this in baseball. I mean, you really would. This is an amazing thing. The ball finds you, as Woe, the professor, would tell us. The ball found Anthony Rizzo, and he wasn't ready for the play.
All right, Glenn, what do you think?
Gary's a tough crowd, man. I tell you, tough crowd. And he did get the beer cup snake, which he really wanted, and that's important at Wrigley Field. You need to experience the beer snake cup, where thousands of beer cups are stacked on top of each other, and he had a good one going. He said he really wanted that. And listen, if you win a World Series in Chicago for the Cubs, which happens very, very little, as we know, but Rizzo was a big guy for that Cubs team that won it all. You can do whatever you want in Chicago. And I think Rizzo said, you know what, I want to sit in the bleachers. And he did. And I thought it was great. And it looked like he had a ball. And, congratulations on a great career for Anthony Rizzo. But I always found, like when the Giants played the Cubs, or, he always looked like a really tough out to me, guys, because remember how he used to kind of hang over the plate? He would crowd the plate. And I remember always thinking, like, God, how would you pitch this guy? Like he just hung over the plate and asked you to throw it somewhere on the inner half, and then he was going to take that giant swing. And, he had over 300 career home runs. So, terrific player, and I'm glad he had a lot of fun at Wrigley. If you go to Wrigley, you should have fun, and he can do whatever he wants there.
Did you ever sit in the bleachers, Glenn, at Wrigley?
No, I never sat out there for a game. I remember walking out there before a game. One of the A's were there, I don't know what year, maybe 7, 8 years ago. And I said, I want to walk around the ballpark. I got there early. So I just walked around and I kind of sat out there just to, get a feel, for what it was like out there. There was nobody there, obviously. But, I just wanted to, what do the bleachers feel like, literally? And they weren't super comfortable, but I don't think anybody cares out there. But you know what? That's something I wish I had done, and maybe at some point I'll still do it. But that's a baseball experience you need to have. They have a good time. There's a lot going on out there, if you know what I mean. So good for the Cubs fans.
All right, Glenn, shirt on or shirt off if you go to Wrigley and sit in the bleachers?
Well, 25 years ago, if I was with my buddies, I would probably have the shirt off. Right now, I would probably, just to save everybody, I would probably have a large sweatshirt on just to cover things up a little bit. Nobody wants to see this guy with his shirt off anymore. Trust me.
Kerry, I know what your answer is going to be. I know shirt off, right?
My answer is going to be the same as Glenn's. No, maybe 3 years ago I would have felt better about myself.
An ASU guy in the bleachers at Wrigley.
I'll tell you this: at Sloan Park in Mesa, maybe shirt off on the outfield grass, the Cubs spring training stadium. But Wrigley Field, all the TV cameras around, I don't think so, Marty. Not these days.
All right, Kerry.
All right.
I got a deal. Kerry, I got a deal for you. Next spring training, let's go to Sloan Park, and if you sit on the grassy berm with your shirt off, I'll do it as well. How about that?
There we go. I'm in. I am in for that, Glenn.
But Marty has to join us.
Do it on a Sunday when I'm on the air, and do that, and I'll be able to describe it to people.
That'll be
a good one. Okay. Well, all right. So that's it. 2 more weeks to go, and we'll see what happens. This turned out. You never know what, Kerry, you know it, I say a million times, you never know where it's going to go. Every day you get another story. And the mosaic, you never know what the picture's going to look like to the end. And the Giants are right there. Would you say, I'll leave it on this one, you feel the Giants are in the driver's seat to make this happen the way they're playing compared to the Mets and the Reds? Glenn, I'll start with you on that one.
No, I wouldn't say driver's seat. Only and honestly, guys, the reason that I wouldn't say that, even though they're a half game back, they don't have the tiebreaker, so it's really a game and a half. We all understand that. But I think if you look at the schedules, and I have all the schedules in front of me, and it's just that 4-game series in LA scares me because listen, the Giants are playing very well right now, and they've got themselves in this spot. I'm worried about the 4 games in LA because to take 3 out of 4, I mean, you would have to play really, really good baseball, and not that the Giants can't do that, but Dodgers are really good. I mean, I know they're maybe not quite as dominant as last year or the last 2-3 years, but they're terrific, especially down there. So I would say probably not in the driver's seat. Because they have to do a 4-game series at Dodger Stadium. Very tough to do.
Care?
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Glenn. If they make it through these 7 games, really the 8 games, including today against their National League West foes, and they can come out 5-3 or 6-2, then I'll say driver's seat. But it's just tough because they don't have the tiebreaker against the New York Mets right now, and I'm not certain that they'll have the tiebreaker against the Cincinnati Reds based on their play in the division this year. I mean, losing 10 of 13 against the Padres is just crushing. You can't do that, and they have really got to capitalize on the opportunity at home today against the Dodgers, and then with Logan Webb and Robbie Ray opening that series in Los Angeles. They win 3 games with these 3 pitchers going. Ray twice, Webb once, bouncing back from his poor 2 starts against the Dodgers, his last 2 outings against them. Then I think we could maybe say driver's seat, but until they overtake the Mets, until they prove they can get through this week, I still think it's an uphill battle for this team.
All right. Well, Webb's got to throw away the scouting reports and just pitch his game. Don't give him any analytics. Don't give him anything. Just throw that sinker, slider, whatever you throw, and he'll be fine. That's the key for me.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I like it.
All right, Kev, you've got to do a little bit of work. We'll leave you a few minutes to work.
Thanks to both of you. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for talking baseball, Marty. And Giants warm-ups on the other side. Thank you to both of you.
All right, talk to you guys later. Have a good day.
All right, he is Marty Lurie. That is Glenn Kuiper. Up next, Giants warm-up starting a little bit late this morning. We're just about 51 minutes behind our scheduled start, but it's always worth it to do our segments with Marty and Glenn. Always fun. And today we've got a heck of a matchup out at Oracle Park. The Giants and the Dodgers, Game 3, the rubber match of this set at Oracle Park. Robbie Ray against Tyler Glasnow. Great pitching matchup on deck here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. Our KNBR Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the Sports Leader.
We are back Sunday morning, getting you set for Giants baseball on the radio. Kerry Crowley hanging out with you. First pitch coming your way, 1:05 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. Giants pregame will officially start at 12:05. Robbie Ray throwing the first pitch for San Francisco. Tyler Glasnow opposes him for the Dodgers. Los Angeles comes into today's ballgame leading the National League West with a record of 83-65 after the 13-7 win over your Giants on Saturday evening. The Giants fall to 75-73, but still very much in the mix in this wide-open National League wildcard race. The Cubs almost assured of the top spot. The Padres playing well enough to feel confident that they will have the number 2 spot in the wildcard race. But this third spot, the third and final spot, wide open right now. The Mets in free fall, having lost 8 consecutive ball games, allowing both the Giants and the Cincinnati Reds to claw their way back into this race. And let's be honest, folks, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the St. Louis Cardinals, if either of these teams finish, say, 11-3 or 12-2, both of them could very much find themselves in the mix in the final days of the regular season. So it is way too soon to say that anyone is out of it. It is way too soon to make any significant declarations about the state of this race. All the Giants can do is focus on what's ahead of them. And today, it's picking up some of the lost momentum that they had from Saturday evening. The Giants go out on Friday night and capture really an epic win. Patrick Bailey etches his name into Giants-Dodgers lore with a walk-off grand slam off of Tanner Scott in the bottom of the 10th inning. Just a sensational blast from the right-handed hitting Bailey at the moment, who, of course, is a switch hitter, has done most of his damage in his major league career from the left side, but not known for the bat at all, and yet he is known with a penchant for coming up in clutch moments. Bailey has 21 career home runs, 4 of which are walk-off blasts, one against the Texas Rangers a few years ago, one against the Pittsburgh Pirates last year. Of course, no one will forget his inside-the-park 3-run shot off Jordan Romano and the Philadelphia Phillies at Oracle Park back in July, and absolutely no one will forget the grand slam in the 10th inning on Friday night to beat the Dodgers. But each of the 3 series the Giants have played against their main rivals from Los Angeles this season have resulted in familiar fashion for the San Francisco Giants. They've gone out and won in really compelling, entertaining fashion on Friday night, and then the rest of the series, they've fumbled opportunities. You look at the series back in July at Dodger Stadium, back in June at Dodger Stadium, and it was Logan Webb and it was Yoshinobu Yamamoto in a pitcher's duel where the Giants had the opportunity to climb into first place with a win. Casey Schmidt swats a grand slam to left field bleachers early on in that ballgame, and the Giants win it 5-1 over the Dodgers. Logan Webb goes 7 innings, 2-hit ball. He was just brilliant against Los Angeles. Giants temporarily tied the Dodgers atop the National League West standings, and the next 2 days, the Giants fall apart. Pitching couldn't hold up. They ultimately hit a grand slam late on Saturday night, but that was because the Dodgers were winning in blowout fashion and brought Kike Hernandez in to pitch at the end of that ball game. On Sunday, they pull Kyle Harrison out of the bullpen, and they understand that, hey, the pitching's not going to hold up. Sean Jelly ends up making that start for the Giants. Harrison traded to the Boston Red Sox in exchange for Rafael Devers. The Giants kind of wrote that game off on Sunday, June 15th against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium, but they figured that by acquiring Devers, they could put their foot on the gas pedal and they could get back to exactly where this team needed to be. So these two teams match up for the first time at Oracle Park this season in July. The Giants win a wild back-and-forth 8-7 affair on Friday night. They come out on Saturday and Sunday, headed into the All-Star break, and they lose both games. So each of the first two series have unfolded in exactly the same format. The Giants win in epic fashion on Friday and then lose on Saturday and Sunday. And this weekend, you figure it might be different with Bailey hitting the walk-off grand slam on Friday and then setting things up for Logan Webb and Robbie Ray to face Clayton Kershaw and Tyler Glasnow. And the Giants in the first inning last night against Clayton Kershaw had the best inning they've ever had against the future Hall of Famer in his, 17th, 18th Major League season. This guy has been absolutely dominant, a career ERA under 2 at Oracle Park. He's thrown nearly 200 career innings inside the confines at China Basin, and the Giants get to him in the first inning last night. They just single him to death. Incredible work from this offense. You saw Luis Matos going the other way. You saw Matt Chapman yanking a ball past the dive of third baseman Max Muncy, and you saw Rafael Devers contributing to that significant rally for the Giants. But ultimately, the Dodgers bounced back. They got to Logan Webb, who just had a completely different arsenal last night than anything we've seen from Webb in the past. He used a very few of his trademark sinkers. I think he threw just 8 sinkers on the evening. He was primarily sweeper and changeup, and when he did throw his cutter, the Dodgers were sitting on it. They sat on that sinker. Shohei Ohtani blasting the 454-foot home run on the sinker. Webb was reluctant to throw it the remainder of the evening, and he finishes the night going a season-low 4 innings, giving up a season-high 6 earned runs, which is exactly what he did the last time out against the Dodgers, 6 earned runs. So he's got to be better. Thursday at Dodger Stadium, he said he kind of let the team down last night. I think Giants bullpen did as well. Jose Butto coming in relief of Webb. Got a fly ball out to right center field that Luis Matos should have tracked down, did not track down. That ultimately hurts them off the bat of Teoscar Hernandez. And while the Giants rallied late, the Dodgers rallied all night long. 13 runs and a 13-7 win. So the Giants must bounce back today, and they turn to Robbie Ray, who's had a tough go of it in his last 4 starts. ERA above 7 during that time frame. But the Giants need one of their top starting pitchers to step up in one of their most important games of the season. When we come back, we'll give you today's lineups for the Dodgers and the Giants. We'll take a look at scores around Major League Baseball. We'll dive into Logan Webb's start, and we'll look ahead to Robbie Ray's afternoon against this Dodgers team. The Giants 75-73 looking to gain ground in this National League wildcard race, looking to keep things interesting, keep things compelling with 14 games to go in this 162-game regular season. I'm Kerry Crowley. The show is Giants Warm-Up. If you'd like to chime in this morning, please do dial us up. 415-808-KNBR is the number. We'll get you on the air right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR, the sports leader. Welcome back to our KNBR Giants warm-up on the Sports Leader.
Kerry Crowley back here with you on Giants warm-up, getting you set for Giants baseball on the radio. Game 3, a rubber match between your San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Giants take Game 1 of the series. We all know how that happened. Patrick Bailey with a walk-off grand slam against Tanner Scott of the Dodgers in the 10th inning on Friday night, sending a crowd of 40,000 plus into a pandemonium. And then on Saturday, the Giants get out to the early lead, 4-1. They bounce back from Logan Webb, giving up a run in the top half of the first inning by blitzing Clayton Kershaw. Single, 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 walk, single. It was an offensive symphony that Pat Burrell's group was conducting, the type that had evaded the Giants in May and June and July, that contributed to their downfall, their inability to come through against tough left-handed pitchers. Instead, last night, they give Logan Webb the early lead that you always feel comfortable with your ace taking the mound. And he, unfortunately for the Giants, was not able to protect that lead. He ends up giving up several runs, charged with 6 on the evening over 4 innings. Jose Butto didn't help him out of the bullpen, allowing each and every one of his 3 inherited runners to score, and then giving up some runs of his own. So the Giants ultimately go down 13-7, and they'll turn to Robbie Ray today, hoping to bounce back after Ray has given up 15 earned runs in his last 19 innings. He threw 5 innings in a win against the Milwaukee Brewers on August 24th. Lasted just 4 1/3 in a win over the Baltimore Orioles, giving up 6 runs on Friday night, August 29th. And then in Colorado against the Rockies, the Giants won a game in which Ray went just 4 2/3 innings, giving up 5 runs, and they won last week at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks when he went 5, giving up 2. But nevertheless, they've won each of these 4 starts, even though Ray has not been able to pitch beyond 5 innings in any of these outings. So they're hoping they can get more out of Ray today, and they're hoping that this lineup can continue to stay hot and beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. So speaking of the lineups, here's how Dave Roberts and Bob Melvin will set things up this afternoon against one another. For the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani will lead things off. The designated hitter blasted home run number 49 in last night's ballgame, 454 feet to dead center field off the batter's eye at Oracle Park. 93 runs driven in for Ohtani, 18 stolen bases. The average sitting at 282 and the OPS climbing above 1,000 to 1.007, in line for the MVP award yet again this season. Mookie Betts, the shortstop, one of the hottest hitters in baseball at the moment after a really cool start through the first 4 months of the season. Betts is heating up 18 homers, 75 driven in, 8 stolen bases, a 259 average, and a 734 OPS. Teoscar Hernandez moves up in the order today against the left-handed Robbie Ray. He hits in the third spot. Hernandez had the big double last night off of Buteau that Luis Matos could not corral out in right center field. 24 homers for Hernandez, 84 runs driven in, a 245 average, and a 739 OPS for the Dodger right fielder, who's much more bat than glove these days. Freddie Freeman, the cleanup man for Los Angeles. He plays first base, 20 home runs, 81 driven in. He had the big RBI double in the first inning last night against Logan Webb. A 293 average and an 858 OPS for Freeman. Believe it or not, those numbers, 293 and 858, it suggests that Freeman has cooled off a little bit of late, but nevertheless still one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball. Just gives you a good professional at bat every single time out. Tommy Edman gets the call in center field today. The switch hitter will bat from the right side against Robbie Ray. He hits in the fifth slot in the order. 12 homers, 44 runs batted in, 3 stolen bases, 225 average, and a 666 OPS. Alex Call acquired the Washington Nationals at the trade deadline. He gets the call out in left field today. Michael Conforto the day off against the left-handed Robbie Ray. Call with 4 homers, 29 driven in, 2 stolen bases, 268 average, and a 739 OPS. Miguel Rojas hits in the 7th slot in the order, playing second base today. 6 homers, 24 runs batted in, 4 stolen bases for Rojas, a 262 average, and a 714 OPS for the former Miami Marlin. Kike Hernandez off the bench today in place of Max Muncy in the 8th spot in the order. The right-hander Hernandez platooning a little bit with Muncy, who, of course, provides a bunch of power from the left side, so he should be available late in the game as long as he's not feeling the effects of the hit by pitch came off of his helmet last night. Scary moment in that ball game. 8 homers for Hernandez, 26 runs driven in, a 193 average, and a 589 OPS. And Ben Rortvedt, the catcher, batting 9th, no homers. 8 runs batted in, a 153 average, and a 422 OPS. It came up last night for Rortvedt, who, of course, is replacing Will Smith, who was placed on the injured list yesterday for the Los Angeles Dodgers, still feeling the effects of a lower body injury that he is dealing with. For the San Francisco Giants and Bob Melvin, this is how they will set things up. Elliot Ramos out in left field leading things off today against the right-hander Tyler Glasnow. 17 homers, 61 driven in for Ramos. Giants would love to see him hit 3 home runs over the final 14 games of the season to get up to that 20 home run threshold again. 6 stolen bases for Ramos, a 263 average, and a 733 OPS. Rafael Devers, always dangerous in the number 2 spot in the order. The designated hitter today will hit from the left side. 31 homers, 102 driven in, 1 stolen base, a 258 average, and 860 OPS for Devers. That number's climbed up a little bit over the last few weeks. Willie Adames, the shortstop for the Giants in the 3 spot today. 28 home runs, 82 runs batted in, 9 stolen bases, a 231 average, and a 750 OPS for Adames. Matt Chapman in the cleanup spot today for the San Francisco Giants. They are a better team when he's on the field, playing well over 500 when he's in the lineup. 2 IL stints this season. 21 homers, 57 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, a 243 average, and an 808 OPS. Giants missed Jung-Hoo Lee's outfield defense last night. He's back in there in the 5th spot in the order today against Tyler Glasnow. 8 homers, 52 runs driven in for Lee, 10 stolen bases, a 267 average, and a 742 OPS. Wilmer Flores will hit 6 today for the Giants over at first base. 15 homers for Flores this year, 67 runs driven in, a stolen base, a 238 average, but the OPS has dipped all the way down to 681 through the first 2 months of the season. That number was sitting right around 820, 830 for the San Francisco Giants. Pat Bailey moves up in the order after a strong couple of weeks, has brought his OPS up over 600. Switch hitter will hit from the left side against Tyler Glasnow. He had some RBIs late last night. 6 homers, 4 of which, of course, have come in the month of September for Patrick Bailey. 52 runs driven in, a stolen base, a 220 batting average for the Giants catcher, and a 606 OPS. Casey Schmidt cooling off of late. He drops down to the 8th spot in the Giants batting order. 10 homers, 35 runs driven in. It's not been a big RBI man for the Giants this season. No stolen bases for Schmidt. 238 average and a 705 OPS. And Drew Gilbert back in the lineup today. The energetic young rookie. The Giants hoping they can get something out of him off of Tyler Glasnow. Gilbert can turn around a fastball, and they'd like to see it today. Gilbert has 3 home runs, 12 runs driven in since being called up from AAA Sacramento, coming over in the trade, of course, that sent Tyler Rogers to the New York Mets. 1 stolen base, a 224 average for Drew Gilbert, and a 702 OPS for the young outfielder, who, of course, was a first-round draft pick in 2022 of the Houston Astros before being traded to the New York Mets in a deal that sent Justin Verlander back to Houston, and then he was dealt to San Francisco before making his Major League debut, which, of course, happened in the month of August at Oracle Park. So, plenty more to talk about this morning on Giants Warm-Up. If you want to chime in on the state of this National League wildcard race and where the Giants go from here. After the loss yesterday, a disappointing defeat, but nevertheless, the New York Mets lost yesterday as well. We'll bring you up to date on what's happening out in Queens as the Mets take on the Texas Rangers, and we'll also keep you updated on scores around Major League Baseball. That's all coming up next right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Bailey drives one deep left field and gone! Patrick Bailey! Another walk-off for him, and this time it's a grand slam! Everybody at home plate, and Bailey touches home and gets crushed by his teammates, his jersey getting ripped off. A moment that he'll never forget against the Dodgers in a pennant race.
We're getting you in the mood for a crazy crab sandwich, some garlic fries, a cha-cha bowl, and some orange and black baseball. KNBR's Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
Every Sunday morning, we bring you our Home Run of the Week, sponsored by Pacific Catch, the Bay's favorite seafood destination, and Raph, our producer, and I often deliberate. Which home run should we choose? We go back 6-7 days. Is that relevant enough? Well, this week, no debate. Patrick Bailey's grand slam in the 10th inning that sends the Giants home happy on Friday evening over the Los Angeles Dodgers. That is the obvious choice for the home run of the week, and probably the home run of the season. I mean, there's two options right now. It's Patrick Bailey's inside the park walk-off against the Philadelphia Phillies and Patrick Bailey's grand slam into the left field bleachers to walk off the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 10th inning on Friday night. Dave Fleming with a beautiful call. As he said, the Giants, in a pennant race, they could have taken advantage of a loss on Saturday afternoon by the New York Mets. The Mets were up 2-0 after 7 innings, but nevertheless, the Texas Rangers came back, scored 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, and beat the Mets, sending them to their 8th consecutive defeat on Saturday, opening the door for the Giants to potentially overtake New York in the 3rd spot in the National League wildcard standings. Instead, the Giants go up 4-1 early against the Dodgers, and then they fall apart. The Giants have played some familiar series against the Dodgers this season, 3 unfolding in similar fashion. On Friday night, they've won. On Saturday, they've lost. And on Sunday, in each of the first 2 meetings this year, 1 at Dodger Stadium, 1 at Oracle Park. The Giants have lost on Sunday. They're hoping to reverse that trend with Robbie Ray taking the mound this afternoon against Tyler Glasnow of the Los Angeles Dodgers. But that's your home run of the week, and thanks to the good folks at Pacific Catch for giving us another reason to play Bailey's Grand Slam. Let's take a look at scores around Major League Baseball right now. A bunch of games in action here on Sunday afternoon. A really great day across the sports world as NFL Week 2 is in action. You were looking for the San Francisco 49ers. You can catch that game over on 107.7 The Bone right now. Middle of the 3rd inning as the Atlanta Braves are up 2-1 over the Houston Astros at the moment. Matt Olson already has a home run and has scored a run. Obviously scored a run. But he has put the Braves out in front 2-1 in that ball game at Truist Park. Philadelphia Phillies hold a 2-0 lead over the Kansas City Royals right now. Noah Cameron on the mound for Mike Yastrzemski's Royals, who were in the mix in the AL wildcard hunt just a few days ago, but they've fallen under 500. Meanwhile, the Phillies trying to move to 30 games over 500, become the 2nd team in the major leagues to reach 90 wins this season. Zach Wheeler out for the season, having the thoracic outlet surgery, and that's unfortunate news for the Phillies, but they have not slowed down at all. Christopher Sanchez continues to pitch well for them. He'll get some Cy Young votes this year. Jesus Luzardo had a great start against the New York Mets earlier this week. Aaron Nola still a part of that rotation. Phillies have a bunch of dudes, and if they win today, have the opportunity to continue making it a race for the number 1 seed in the National League playoffs, which, of course, the Milwaukee Brewers have been clinging to for the last few weeks with their hot June, July, and August. End of the third inning right now at the Rogers Center in Toronto, where the Blue Jays and the Orioles are tied 1-1. Gunnar Henderson coming up for the Orioles. He's 1 for 1 today. Kobe Mayo with a home run out to dead center field early in that ball game for the Orioles. Bottom of the third inning right now in Cleveland, where the Guardians very much a part of this AL wildcard race right now. It's 0-0 as they host the Chicago White Sox, who are 57-92, not playing for much right now. But Gomez on the mound has not allowed a hit or a run in that ball game. And in fact, he's been perfect through the first 8 batters against Cleveland, which always likes to win in low-scoring fashion. Stephen Vogt keeping that club very much intact. I was impressed when they came to Oracle Park earlier this season. Their record didn't reflect it. They were sitting right around 500, but they took 2 of 3 from the Giants in the month of June, right after the Red Sox rolled into town. I thought, you know what, that team might be a threat in the playoff race, and here in late in September, they're still hanging around. Bottom of the third inning in Miami, where the Detroit Tigers hold a 2-0 lead over the Miami Marlins at the moment. Marlins won yesterday 6-4 in 11 innings, but the Tigers trying to chase down the Toronto Blue Jays for the number 1 spot in the American League playoff race right now. New York Yankees also hot on their heels, but nevertheless, whoever wins that AL East will probably have around 90, 92, 93 wins. Tigers trying to keep pace in the Central. They're sitting 19 games over 500 right now at 84-65. Spencer Torkelson due up in the top of the fourth inning for Detroit. End of the second inning, this is the game we're all paying attention to in Queens right now. It's Rangers nothing, Mets nothing. Both of these teams have 1 hit at the moment. Rangers going for the sweep today. Bruce Bochy's team definitely back in the mix in the AL wildcard hunt at 79-70. They played atrocious baseball on the road this season, but they have won each of the first 2 games of this series against the Mets. You got McClain on the mound for New York. He's gone 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts already. 40 pitches, just 20 strikes, though. And you got Jacob Latz on the mound for the Texas Rangers through 2 innings, 1 hit, 4 walks already for Latz. 53 pitches, just 29 strikes. So each of those pitchers struggling to find the strike zone in that ball game. So as we continue to roll through scores around Major League Baseball, just a reminder, the Giants and the Dodgers will start today at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time at Oracle Park. Our official pregame show begins at 12:05, but we roll with you all morning. We got Talkin' Baseball on Sunday mornings, then we got Giants warm-up, and of course in the afternoon, Bill Lasky will wrap things up with a great edition of Extra Innings. A few more scores for games in progress right now. The Twins and the Diamondbacks tied 0-0 in the top of the second inning in Minneapolis. Target Field playing host to today's ball game. Bailey Ober threw an inning, a third, 2 strikeouts, no hits allowed at the moment. Twins do have a hit against the D-backs. So the Giants, of course, will see this week. They'll see Zach Gallen. They'll see Eduardo Rodriguez. And they will counter them with Carson Seymour and Kaiwei Tang, presumably, assuming that the Giants don't get Landon Roop or Carson Wisenhunt back from the IL. And it doesn't sound like either of those pitchers are on track to return just yet. Although don't rule out an end-of-season return for Landon Roop if the Giants are still in the mix. End of the first inning right now in Milwaukee, where the Brewers picked up win number 91 yesterday over the St. Louis Cardinals. 0-0 the score at the moment. The Brew Crew 91-58. The Cardinals, meanwhile, 72-77. They've fallen back of late. And if they're completely out of the race in the final week of the regular season, the Giants would love that. They'd love to be able to pick up some wins against St. Louis at Oracle Park. Remember, that final homestand is 3 against St. Louis, an off day on Thursday, and then 3 against the Colorado Rockies, who could have 115, 120 losses by that point in the season. Top of the first inning right now at Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the Rays hold a 2-0 lead over Shota Imanaga and the Cubs. Imanaga struggling to get through the top of the first right now. He's already given up 2 earned runs on 3 hits. There's a runner on first base. Just 1 out in the frame. He did get a strikeout in that one. But the Rays won yesterday when Anthony Rizzo rolled into town and had the viral moment in the bleachers as he was standing out. Had, of course, his official retirement from Major League Baseball, retired as a Cub, and then sat out in the left field bleachers participating in all the shenanigans out there with the beer snake and having a home run ball hit to him. Didn't end up catching that home run ball, but it made for pretty compelling television, if anyone caught that. Some other matchups to tell you about later on this afternoon. The Athletics play host to the Cincinnati Reds, who fell last night. That's good news for the San Francisco Giants. Morales on the hill for Sacramento, and Nick Lodolo taking the ball for the Cincinnati Reds. The left-hander Lodolo, 8-7 with a 3.10 earned run average. The Reds right now 74-74. So if they win today and the Giants lose today, they can pull into a tie with the Giants. But the Giants trying to create some separation with a win over the Dodgers. The Mariners and the Angels going at it. this afternoon up at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Good pitching matchup. The veteran Kyle Hendricks goes for Los Angeles, 7-9 with a 4.58 earned run average. He's been better of late, though. And George Kirby, not having the best season of his young career, but still able to provide the Mariners with good length each time he goes out there. 8-7 with a 4.56 earned run average for Kirby. You've also got an NL West showdown today. The Padres and the Rockies at Petco Park. San Diego already up to 81 wins on the season, 13 games over 500 at 81-68. And the Rockies sitting at 41-108 right now. My goodness. Herman Marquez takes the ball for Colorado, 3-13 with a 6.31 ERA for the Rockies. And Yu Darvish will go for San Diego. Darvish has struggled this season, spent some time on the IL. He's 3-5 with a 5.65 earned run average. Dylan Cease took the ball last night. His ERA up in the 4.7s for San Diego. So that pitching staff not exactly performing as A.J. Preller thought it would at the beginning of the season. And Sunday Night Baseball should be no surprise to anyone who pays attention to these national matchups. It's the Yankees, it's the Red Sox, and it's at Fenway Park. Will Warren going for New York, 8-6 with a 4.22 earned run average, and Garrett Crochet taking the ball for Boston. What an acquisition he's been. Giants were definitely in the mix for Garrett Crochet in the offseason when the White Sox declared their intent to trade their top starter. Just figured that Boston had the better trade package there, and Buster Posey stepping in to his role as president of baseball operations probably wasn't inclined to give up as much at that point at the beginning of his tenure as he may have been when the Giants gave up Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs III, and a few others for Rafael Devers in the middle of June. Crochet, 15-5 with a 2.57 earned run average. You have to figure he's a front runner for the AL Cy Young at the moment. Max Fried also very much in that race right now after he picked up win number 17 yesterday for an 83-win Yankees team. So you've got the Toronto Blue Jays sitting at 86 wins, the Yankees at 83, and the Boston Red Sox at 81. Heck of a race right now in the American League. The Yankees and the Red Sox very much in control of the wild card race, but Bruce Bochy's Texas Rangers hot on their heels. The Mariners in the mix as well. A number of different teams, including the Cleveland Guardians, trying to hang around. That AL wildcard race, I'll be honest, a little bit more compelling than the National League race at the moment. If you take off your Giants fan cap, you really have a few teams hovering and hanging around 500 that are still in the mix. We do have one final to tell you about this afternoon. The Nationals have already defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates this morning in our nation's capital, 4-3. Rutledge the win, Matson the loss, and Beater save number 1 for the Washington Nationals, who improved to 62-87 on the season. Pirates, meanwhile, away from Pittsburgh or from PNC Park this year, are 23-52. They're 65-85 overall, so they're actually 10, 11 games over 500 at home at PNC Park, but they have been brutal on the road this year, just about as bad as the Colorado Rockies have been, both at home and on the road in their historically awful season there in Colorado. So we've now reached the bottom of the third inning in Queens, as the Rangers were not able to score in the top half of the third inning. It's still 0-0. Pete Alonso at the plate for the New York Mets at the moment. He was one of the players who walked in his first plate appearance against Latz of the Texas Rangers. Latz still out there. He's thrown over 50 pitches already through 2 frames. And so we will keep you updated all morning long on that Rangers and Mets showdown that we've got going for you. But today, the Giants looking to keep pace with the Mets or potentially overtake the Mets in this National League wildcard race, potentially control their own destiny here, as the Giants will play 14 more games this season, including today's matchup against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Of these 14, 5 come against L.A. Logan Webb will take the ball on Thursday night at Dodger Stadium after giving up 6 over 4 innings against Los Angeles on Saturday evening at Oracle Park. And Robbie Ray will once again face the Dodgers on Friday after matching up with them today. So the Giants have their pitching lined up for the beginning of that Dodgers series. They'll use Justin Verlander on Wednesday against the Arizona Diamondbacks to round out that series, but they're going to have to get through the first 2 days of their series against Arizona with Carson Seymour and Kai-Wei Tang. This is one of the reasons you want to acquire starting pitching at the deadline. You don't want to be trading away pitching at the deadline, and who knows, maybe the Giants will get some help here from Landon Roop or Carson Wisenhunt or Blade Tidwell, who was, of course, acquired in that deal involving the New York Mets and Tyler Rogers at the deadline that brought Drew Gilbert to San Francisco, who's batting 9th today for the San Francisco Giants. But nevertheless, this is a team that's trying to patch things together, go inning by inning, and Robbie Ray hasn't exactly pitched deep into ball games of late. We mentioned earlier in his last 4 starts, he has failed to go beyond 5 innings, and yet the Giants have won each of those 4 games. It's kind of comical, the results in those. 5 innings, 3 runs, and a win over the Milwaukee Brewers on the 24th of August. Giants won that game 4-3, so the bullpen really helped out Robbie Ray On August 29th, he went 4 1/3, giving up 6 against the Baltimore Orioles, but it didn't matter. Giants scored 15 runs that evening at Oracle Park. Robbie Ray also went 4 2/3 innings, giving up 5 runs in Colorado against the Rockies in his last road start. That was on September 3rd in Colorado, and then his last outing against the Arizona Diamondbacks at home at Oracle Park earlier this week. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, but nevertheless needed 95 pitches to make it through those 5 innings. So Ray wearing down a little bit down the stretch here. Today will be start number 31 for the Giants left-hander, and they're hoping to get 33 out of him this season. When we come back, we'll discuss this Giants-Dodgers matchup. We will look ahead to what's to come for the Giants as they take on Arizona, Los Angeles, St. Louis, and Colorado down the stretch here. 14 games to go. We'll see what the Giants can do as they make this a race for the National League's 3rd wildcard spot. I'm Kerry Crowley. The show is Giants Warm Up. We're rolling with you on KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Sound right, boy. It sound right, boy.
While Bob Melvin preps the men in orange and black, we'll prep you for today's ball game as our Giants warm-up continues on the Sports Leader.
We are back Sunday morning. Kerry Crowley rolling with you here on Giants Warm-Up, getting you set for Giants baseball on the radio. The rubber match between the Giants and the Dodgers coming your way. First pitch at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time today. Pre-game show, 12:05 p.m. Pacific time. Plenty to discuss this morning as we get you set for a key matchup. The Giants trying to keep pace with the New York Mets, trying to overtake the New York Mets in this National League wildcard race. A sentence I thought no way I'd be saying just 3 weeks ago, but nevertheless, the Giants woke up in Milwaukee. They've won 14 of their last 19 ball games, and the Mets have been in total freefall, entering today with 8 consecutive losses, including an epic collapse on Saturday afternoon in Queens against Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers. Jock Peterson coming up with a late RBI for Texas. Tyler Rogers giving up 2 late runs for New York. Had the Giants imprint all over it, 3,000 plus miles away. So, as we talk about the Giants and the Dodgers, I think it's worth discussing what we saw on Saturday evening at Oracle Park. And in many ways, I think it's worth discussing because if the Giants are going to get into the playoffs, they're going to need Logan Webb to dial back, turn back the clock, and become the pitcher that he was the end of the 2021 season when he was absolutely dominant, putting the Giants on his back, and then getting this team into the NLDS with a Game 162 win over San Diego, pitching his guts out in the NLDS against the Dodgers in Game 1, a victory for the Giants, and then again in Game 5, which ultimately turned into a heartbreaking loss for San Francisco. But nevertheless, over 14 2/3 innings in that series, Webb was dominant, giving up just 1 run and proving that he had the stuff to be an ace at the major league level. And he was an ace in 22, 23, 24, and he's been an ace in 25. To me, he's really been one of the 10, 15 most valuable pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. And over the last 5 years, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who's been as valuable. But nevertheless, in each of his last 2 outings against the Dodgers, he'd given up 6 earned runs. I think it's fair to say that the Dodgers have figured out what Logan Webb is trying to do to beat them. And he tried to make a huge adjustment last night against Los Angeles. Logan Webb is a sinker-slider guy. The sinker is a dominant pitch for him. He relies on it to get ground balls, to get himself out of tough situations. Look, this is someone who gives up a lot of base hits, a lot of soft contact, but soft contact sometimes finds a hole. Sometimes you bloop one over the shortstop's head to left field. Logan Webb understands how to pitch with runners on base. But against the Dodgers in his last 2 outings, it's been a little different. In July, he threw the sinker too often. They sat on it and they hit it. Last night, he didn't throw the sinker at all. He threw it 8 times, and this is a guy who uses that pitch more than 30, nearly 40% of the time. Just 8 offerings with that pitch, including one that Shohei Ohtani blasted 454 feet out to dead center field. It was brutal. It was not what the Giants needed in that moment. And so, if they are going to make this miracle run, if they're going to turn around and pick up from the collapse in the middle of the season and make a postseason push as the Mets are collapsing at the end of the season, they're going to need Logan Webb to be at his best. And it starts next Thursday in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. And obviously the Giants have 4 very important games in between then and now, including today's matchup, in which Robbie Ray takes them out, looking to go deeper into a ball game. But I think at the moment, the Dodgers are in Webb's head a little bit. He threw 7 innings of 2-hit ball against them in June in Los Angeles in a 5-1 win. Featured Casey Schmidt's grand slam against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. But each of the last 2 times out, he's looked like a different pitcher against them, including 2 games at Oracle Park where Webb has historically dominated, especially at night. Last night, we saw Webb throw the sweeper 35 times, the changeup 31 times, and the cutter 18 times. The sinker used just 8 of his 97 offerings. It's got to be a pitch that Webb throws with conviction, with confidence, because everything else that he does plays off of that sinker. To me, part of what makes his sweeper so effective is that when he throws each of those offerings, it looks out of the hand like the exact same pitch. For a moment, to both right and left-handed hitters, it looks like it's going to be the sinker or the sweeper. One of those 2 offerings, except they break in different directions. So he gets a lot of soft contact because you're not getting barrels when you're guessing. And last night he became too fixated on the sweeper. Dodgers players could pick up on that. They weren't seeing the sinker. When they did, Shohei Ohtani kind of took it out of his arsenal with that 454-foot home run. So I think the challenge for Webb next week is in the first, second, and third innings against Los Angeles to throw the sinker with conviction, to use it on the corners, to dot it on the inside black against right-handed hitters in the outside corner against lefties. He's got such tremendous tail on that pitch, and it's one of the reasons he's been so fun to watch, really, over the last 5 years, is because the sinker is a pitch that he's used time and time again to set up his other offerings, to induce soft contact, and to get the types of swings and misses that we're now accustomed to seeing from Webb, especially this season with the sweeper and ultimately the changeup, which dives down deep below the strike zone. Last night, he threw a few too many sweepers, few too many changeups, not nearly enough sinkers. And who am I to criticize? Look, I haven't pitched in Major League Baseball. I don't know what Webb's thinking about when he's out there on the mound, working with pitching coach J.P. Martinez and catcher Patrick Bailey in between starts. But I do know this. Webb has the stuff to turn things around in an instant. He is an ace for a reason. He's thrived for 5 seasons because of how he's evolved at the Major League level. He's seen pitchers on his own staff evolve this season. Justin Verlander had a terrible first half, has morphed into the Giants' most consistent starter during the second half. His last 10 starts, Verlander's got a 2.44 ERA. You saw Clayton Kershaw last night for the Dodgers give up runs in the first inning and then set the Giants down in the second and third, pitching out of jams. Kershaw's someone who's evolved for a long time at the Major League level. And I think that Logan Webb can be really good for a really long time at the Major League level. We've seen him up the ante with strikeouts this year. We've seen him consistently go deep into games, save for last night. He said after last night's ball game, I kind of let the team down. He acknowledges that Thursday has to be different. The Giants acknowledge that today, Robbie Ray's start has to be different. This offense is picking things up, but the starting pitching rotation must make life easier on the bullpen and must give the offense some breathing room if the Giants are going to pull off this miracle run. I'm Kerry Crowley. The show is Giants Warm-Up. We are rolling with you right here on the Sports Leader.
1-1 pitch.
And a line drive down the right field line on a splitter. It will go into the right field corner.
Encarnacion comes around third to score. Here comes Matos around third, and he scores, and the throw-in from the right field corner goes right to the middle of the infield until Mookie Betts picks it up at the back of the pitcher's mound. It's a 2-run double for Patrick Bailey, and don't make any other plans for the rest of the night just yet.
It's almost time for hot dogs, peanuts, cold beers, and orange and black baseball. Our Giants warm-up rolls on the sports leader.
We are back here on Giants Warm-Up. Kerry Crowley rolling with you. So the start of our Giants pregame show coming your way in just about 7 minutes here. We've got first pitch this afternoon at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time out at Oracle Park. Robbie Ray will throw it. Tyler Glass now opposes him for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The highlight, you heard Patrick Bailey roping a double down the right field line last night. Let's take a look at Patrick Bailey. OPS by month. April, 441. May, 597. June, 674. July, 577. August, 550. Nothing in that bat suggested that a September breakout was at all likely or even possible, given his major league track record. And yet, Patrick Bailey, this month, including the walk-off grand slam on Friday night, has been one of the Giants' best hitters, an average of .333 and an OPS of 1.069. 4 homers, a double, we saw that last night, and 13 runs driven in already, the most that he's batted in a single month this season. The Giants enjoying what they've seen from Bailey this month, and this team's different. If he starts to hit the ball better, he's back in the lineup today for the 3rd consecutive afternoon as the Giants have a big one with Ray on the hill against the Dodgers. Let's take another look at scores around Major League Baseball as a number of wild card races, division races continuing to take shape. The Braves 2, the Astros 2, top of the 5th inning right now in Atlanta. The Astros trying to cling to that lead in the American League West. Top of the 6th inning right now in Philadelphia, where the Phillies went ahead 2-0, but the Royals have come back and taken a 3-2 lead against Aaron Nola, who's on the hill today for Philadelphia, taking on an even more important role right now for Philadelphia with Zach Wheeler out for the season. The Blue Jays have gone ahead 4-1 of the Baltimore Orioles right now. The Blue Jays trying to continue to lead all American League teams. They would pick up win number 87 right now if they're able to hold on that game at the Rogers Center in the bottom of the 5th inning. Top of the 5th in Cleveland, where the Guardians hold a 2-1 advantage over the Chicago White Sox. Guardians still on the outskirts of that AL wildcard race, but they continue to make things interesting. Slade Ciccone, former D-back, on the hill today for Cleveland. He's through 4 1/3, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, and an earned run allowed. End of the 5th inning at Marlins Park in Miami, where the Tigers hold a 2-0 lead over Miami. Gleyber Torres, Kerry Carpenter, and Riley Green due up. Nice to see Kerry in the lineup for Detroit. Top of the 5th inning right now, the game that we are all paying close attention to. The Rangers and the Mets. It means New York. The Mets 76 and 73 right now, a half game ahead of the San Francisco Giants in the wild card race. McClain on the mound for New York. He has got a runner on second base right now for the Rangers with Smith at the plate and 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Bottom of the 3rd inning at Target Field in Minnesota, where the Twins hold a 2-1 lead over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nabel Chrismat on the hill for Arizona. Bottom of the 2nd inning in Milwaukee, where the Cardinals have gone ahead 3-0 over the Brewers, who picked up win number 91, lead all of Major League Baseball in that category. Miles Mikolas on the mound for St. Louis at the moment. End of the 2nd inning at Chicago Wrigley Field, where the Rays hold a 2-1 lead over the Cubs at the moment. We got one final to tell you about. The Nationals defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-3, and 4 other games on the docket this afternoon aside from Giants-Dodgers. The A's in Sacramento take on the Cincinnati Reds, sitting at 500, but still very much alive in the National League playoff race. Nick Lodolo going for Cincinnati, 8-7, with a 3.10 earned run average. The Mariners play host to the Los Angeles Angels. George Kirby against Kyle Hendricks in that ball game. The Padres and the Rockies, it's Yu Darvish against German Marquez in the matchup of pitchers. The Giants have been a bunch over the past couple of years, and the Red Sox play host to the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. Garrett Crochet, maybe the front runner for the AL Cy Young on the mound for Boston. 15-5 with a 2.57 earned run average against Will Warren of the Yankees. 8-6 with a 4.22 ERA. So that's a look at scores around Major League Baseball. On the other side, our Giants pregame show will begin. It is now 2 on and 2 out for the Rangers in the top of the 5th inning. Wyatt Langford at the plate right now, trying to get Texas on the scoreboard and trying to keep the Rangers surging up those AL wildcard standings. More coming up next. Giants pregame show on the other side on the Sports Leader.
Just a gorgeous Sunday afternoon here in San Francisco, and a very big game is looming. It's the Giants and the Dodgers for the final time in this ballpark this year. Last game of the 3-game series, Giants trying to bounce back from their loss last night, still right in the middle of the wild card race. It's the left-hander, Robbie Ray, on the mound for the Giants, up against the Dodgers right-hander, Tyler Glasnow. I'm Dave Fleming along with John Miller. Full pregame show to come. Giants-Dodgers baseball on the radio.
Hey, everybody, it is September 14th in Giants history. Let's go back to 1989, a gift to a certain generation, because the Giants are going to win the National League pennant and go to the World Series for the first time in 27 years, but not yet. They got to get there first. And on September 14th, 1989, they were trying to beat the Cincinnati Reds at Candlestick Park. Kids, ask your parents about Candlestick Park. The pitcher for the Giants, Mike Lacasse, who was a very effective and big part of that 89 team, doesn't get talked about a lot. Very reliable starting pitcher. And the Giants are on the board early in the third inning. Will Clark, RBI single, scoring Brett Butler. Doesn't get much more 89 than that. The Reds, though, took the lead with 2 runs in the 6th. Future Giant Eric Davis, what a player, hit an RBI single. And the Reds actually have a 3-1 lead. But Giants come back. They tie it up at 3 in the bottom of the 7th. Will Clark, RBI triple. Kevin Mitchell, sac fly. Again, very 89. This one does not end in the 9th. We go to extras. No ghost runners. Score a run the old-fashioned way. It's the bottom of the 12th, and Will Clark reaches on an error. That's the old-fashioned way. Kevin Mitchell strikes out. Matty Williams, 2025 third base coach, is up at bat when Will Clark steals second. That was rare. So they intentionally walk Matt Williams to bring up, well, he's a Diamondbacks broadcaster. He's a former Diamondbacks manager. He's a forever Giant. Good dude, Bob Brenly.
So here is Bob Brenly. Runners at first and second. The first pitch is looped down the right field line. Could be trouble. That is slicing away. Fair ball. And here comes Clark around. He scores and the Giants win it. They win 4-3.
It was a magical year, and Bob Brenly brings home Will Clark with that knock. Giants win 4-3 on their way to the pennant on September 14th, 1989. And this has been Brian Murphy with This Date in Giants History.
We are back here on the Giants pregame show. Kerry Crowley hanging out with you, and it's time to send you out to Oracle Park, where we're joined by Giants broadcaster John Miller. John, how are you this morning?
Good afternoon, and welcome to Oracle Park. It's, by the way, morning has gone. It's come and gone. Maybe you missed it. I'm not sure what your Sunday morning habits are, but it's past noon, 12:12 over here at the ballpark. And I'm keeping an eye on that game at Citi Field. Mets nothing, Rangers nothing. Last of the fifth inning, Steven Latz, young lefty, going for Bruce Bochy's Rangers. And they just scored a run as we speak. So it is 1-0. The Mets still batting with 2 down and nobody on. Must have been a sac fly in the last of the fifth inning. So there you have it. And for the Giants, of course, that doesn't mean a whole lot unless the Giants keep winning. And last night, that was kind of the disappointing part of last night. They had their ace right-hander on the mound, and they could not get a win, even though they scored 7 runs. And Logan Webb, talk about a stand-up guy. Logan Webb came on and stood at his locker with all, and you've been in those scrums many a time, and he shouldered all of the blame for it. He said, "Man, I really let my teammates down. A very poor performance last night," and so the Giants scored a bunch of runs and lost the game anyway.
They did, and the amazing thing to me, John, is Webb will have an opportunity at redemption really soon. I mean, he's got to come back focused next week at Dodger Stadium and take on this team that has now touched him up for 6 earned runs in each of his last 2 outings. The Giants and the Dodgers, this is going to be the story down the final 2 weeks. How they fare against one another, it will ultimately dictate if the Giants can complete this amazing comeback journey that they've been on.
Yeah, and you know, last night, and I'm not sure what if there were questions for Bob Melvin about the lineup last night. I know that they were going all in for offense against Clayton Kershaw, and they've been very poor against all left-handers, not just the guy who has tormented them for years and years and years, especially in this ballpark. But they had Encarnacion in right and Matos in center with Ramos in left, and that outfield did not perform well. In fact, I was just talking with Dave Fleming about the outfield last night, and the good performance out of those 3 was from Encarnacion, and he's definitely not in there because he's a great defender, especially in the big right field out there. So it kind of cost the Giants a little bit in that, or a lot in that game last night, and usually they go the other way when a guy like Webb's on the mound. They go with their best defense, but last night it went differently, and I guess you'd say they succeeded in the lineup for the offense. They scored 7 runs, and they knocked Kershaw out after just 3 innings, putting 4 on the board against him right away. But then the defense was just sort of not that solid in the outfield, and that has been kind of a problem that has oft repeated itself.
Problem that's repeated itself, and one the Giants will hope to take care of today. We'll do more with John Miller on the other side. You're listening to the Giants pregame show on the Sports Leader. All right, Kerry Crowley back here with you on the Giants pregame show, chatting with John Miller, Giants broadcaster, who's out in the booth at Oracle Park. And John, it's been an interesting couple of weeks for Robbie Ray, who takes the ball today for the Giants. Big matchup against the Dodgers. He hasn't completed more than 5 innings in any of his last 4 starts, but the Giants have won all 4 of those starts. I think it speaks to the way that this offense has erupted over the last 3 weeks, and certainly today they're hoping to get more length from Ray.
Yeah, he's had a lot of issues. His control has been a little bit spotty, and yet he has been very determined, very grinding kind of starts where he bends a little bit, throws a lot of pitches, but he has been prevailing, keeping the Giants in it where they've been able to get the win anyway. Today, beware of hitters named Hernandez. Teoscar Hernandez in 10 career at-bats, 2 home runs against Robbie Ray. And Kike Hernandez is going to be in there in place of Muncy, and he's hit 5 home runs, 4 doubles, and a triple, although he's had a lot of at-bats against Ray. 56 career at-bats. It's kind of puts you in mind of when Madison Bumgarner was a Giant, and Kike was a guy he just couldn't get out, although his numbers were way beyond what they are against Robbie Ray. He hit a lot of home runs, and he hit about 500 at least for a long time against Madison Bumgarner. So we'll see how he does here today. And for the Giants side of it, against Glasnow, and Glasnow is he's a monster out there, and he might just pump fastball after fastball after fastball at you because it's that good. Wilmer Flores has had 5 at-bats against him, 2 home runs, and Rafi Devers, used to see him in the American League when he was with the Red Sox, and Glasnow was with the Rays. They were in the same division. And Devers, in 24 plate appearances, reached base 10 times against him, and 7 hits, 333 average. So he's had a little bit of success against him. Chapman's gone deep, and so has Bailey against him. So these are some of the guys, and I know some of that doesn't mean a whole lot because guys change their style, and sometimes they're in a hot streak, and sometimes they're struggling, and their control's not good. But that just gives a little idea of some of the past history and guys to beware.
Well, it's a good note, and specifically Patrick Bailey, the home run off of Tyler Glasnow in his past. And John, I didn't think I'd be saying this in the month of September, but he is maybe the hottest Giants hitter at the moment, hitting .333 this month, an OPS over 1,000, 4 home runs, an epic grand slam on Friday night. This lineup looks different when their catcher is contributing at the plate.
Yeah, it was 3 home runs in a 4-game period there. And then last night he did not go deep, but what he did do was hit a big double in the 5th inning that against Kirby Yates on a splitter, which, that's been the out pitch for Yates for a long time, and he somehow looked for it. It was a pretty good splitter too. It was down below the knees, and he went down and raked it into the right field corner for a 2-run double, and that projected the Giants right back into the game. Right when it was at a low ebb, they had just fallen behind 9-4, and then boom, he hits the double, and suddenly 9-7, and the ballpark was kind of rocking at that point. However, that was the end of it, the end of the good news. That was the high water mark for the Giants in that one.
Indeed, and a big one today, John. 14 games left to go for the San Francisco Giants. Everyone scoreboard watching with the Mets, people scoreboard watching with the Cincinnati Reds. This has turned into a pretty fun way to end it, so looking forward to listening to the call and looking forward to another great day from John Miller in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, hey, this is it's a tough road for the Giants here, facing the Dodgers 7 times in a 10-game period. But as Bob Melvin said Friday night, he says, as a player, this is what you hope for, and this is what you love, to have big games in September against top teams where you need a win and do a little bit of scoreboard watching. So, and then if you make it into October, hello. This is what you're going to face every day in October. Again, you're going to be up against top teams, top pitchers, top hitters. So it's happening a little bit earlier for the Giants right now. And by the way, the Rangers with a budding rally in the 6th inning, 1st and 3rd, 1 out against McClain, the young guy who's been a sensation for the Mets. And so we'll see. Although, wait a minute, a double play grounder. Bummer, dude. Still 1-0 Mets going to the last of the 6th there on the Toyota scoreboard there. Gary?
We'll have more Giants and Dodgers from John Miller, and you can bet we'll have more Rangers and Mets from John later on today, right here on the Sports Leader. Kerry Crowley back here with you on the Giants pregame show. First pitch today, 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. It is time for our Diamond Notes. We lead things off, as always, with our starting pitchers, sponsored by Benjamin Moore Paints. Experience the Benjamin Moore retail difference at our independently owned authorized retailers today or at BenjaminMoore.com. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's the hard-throwing right-hander. Tyler Glasnow has spent much of the season on the injured list, so he's just 2-3, but a 3.21 ERA. Effective when healthy, 92 strikeouts for the right-hander. For the San Francisco Giants, it's the veteran lefty Robbie Ray, 11-6 on the year. An all-star campaign for Ray, a 3.32 earned run average, 176 strikeouts, but he struggled in each of his last 4 starts. He's failed to go beyond 5 innings and has an ERA above 7 during that time frame. Up next, it's our Keys to the Game, sponsored exclusively by Stevens Creek Lincoln. Experience luxury on your terms at Stevens Creek Lincoln. Buckle up and drive safely. For the Giants, it's play tighter outfield defense this afternoon. The outfield defense was abysmal last night. Luis Matos struggled in center field. Jung-Hoo Lee back out there today. They must be better against this Dodgers lineup. And for Robbie Ray, get through 6 strong innings. A quality start is exactly what the Giants need. The bullpen can't be burdened as much as it was last night by the ace Logan Webb, so Ray has got to pick up his teammates this afternoon. Up next, Who's Hitting Lumber, sponsored by Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit us today at goldenstatelumber.com. In the month of September, Patrick Bailey is hitting the Lumber, a .333 batting average, a 1.069 OPS, 4 homers, including the walk-off grand slam on Friday night in the 10th inning, 13 runs driven in, his high in a single month this season, and a double as well, which came in Saturday's ball game against the Dodgers. Up next, it's Who's Hot, sponsored by Valley Heating, Cooling, Electrical, and Solar, locally and family-owned for 63 years. Who's hot for the San Francisco Giants? Rafael Devers. In the month of September, Devers has 3 home runs, 9 runs driven in, a .792 OPS. He had a .989 OPS in the month of August. He has been excellent for the Giants ever since the All-Star break. Up next, your injury report, sponsored by El Camino Health. Our strength, your health. Landon Roop threw a bullpen earlier this weekend. The Giants hoping that he could potentially come back for the final week of the regular season or potentially help this team out if it makes the postseason. Roop, of course, suffered a knee injury in San Diego at the end of August. We thought the season might be over. That may not be the case. Up next, it's our X Factor, sponsored by Casino Matrix. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The X Factor for the San Francisco Giants this afternoon, none other than Drew Gilbert, the energetic spark plug at the bottom of the lineup. 3 homers, 12 runs driven in, .224 average, and a .702 OPS on the season. The Giants didn't have him in last night's ball game against the Dodgers. Tonight, this afternoon, I should say, he gets the start against the right-hander Glass now. That line drive approach can work against this Dodgers righty. Up next, it's your player to focus on, sponsored by Laser Eye Center of Silicon Valley. Laser Eye, CLR, no glasses, contacts, readers, or cataracts. Player to focus on for the San Francisco Giants today, Willy Adames, the shortstop, sitting on 28 home runs. The Giants would love to see him inch closer to 30, becoming the first player in a San Francisco uniform to hit 30 in a season since Barry Bonds in 2004. More Diamond Notes on the other side. It's Glass now, it's Ray, it's Giants-Dodgers in a rubber match on KNBR, the sports leader.